Good morning and welcome to the 2020 BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400. We're out here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we're getting ready for the biggest off-road race in America. Sat next to me is Bob Bauer. Bob, how are you?
Well, I tell you what, I'm a happy man here. I'm happy because I'm here at the Mint 400, the biggest, darnest off-road race in the United States of America. But today is time trials. It's going to be hairy for somebody.
Indeed, this is the first time that we're bringing the Method Wheels qualifying session live here from from Nevada, and we cannot wait to get started. We've got so many big hitters out on the track today. We've got 4 classes that are qualifying. So we've got the Class 1s, then we've got 2 classes of spec cars, and then also we've got the big hitters. We've got the unlimited class vehicles, and I can't wait to see those.
Well, you know, there's a lot at stake. I don't, you know, when we saw that little teaser, Jim, that showed the guys getting their helmets on and sitting in the truck, here's what I noticed. There were no smiles out there. Nobody is smiling. And the reason is everybody's self-contained. They're doing all they can, eyes closed, mind open, to know that I can't mess up. Because 0.003 of a second when you lift early or brake late could mean the difference between when you start in front or way back.
Absolutely, and qualifying is oh so important. We saw so many big accidents here last year. We saw Cole Potts, of course, finish his entire season just trying to qualify for this race.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to be taking it easy. It's 8 miles of brutality to it on this qualifying course. But yes, it's important to get out in front, but it's also important not to break your car before the start of this Mint 400.
Well, that is the challenge. You know, you've got to find yourself, where's my edge, and how do I hold the edge before I bend some metal? And you also have to realize that there's no going back. You know, you know what? The trucks will probably be fine. It's the humans inside.
Absolutely. But while we think about this and we get ready for the start of the Method Wheels qualifying, let's have a look back at a little bit of the history of the Mint 400.
I'd love that.
I can't believe this place.
All the things that we did for the drivers, the Mint 400 jackets, the t-shirts, the hats, the Mint 400 bottles, they became a must-attend event.
As we all know, with the old school photos of Fremont Street and the parade, and you know, the Mint was one of the biggest races there was.
And I'm glad to see that Mad Media is taking this all over and making it back to what it should be.
I think what makes the Mint 400 so tough is the competition.
It's a little outlaw, a little lawless in some ways, but yet there's a good heart to the whole piece, I think.
The track set up, you've got a very diverse terrain. You've got rock, you've got sand, you've got dirt roads, you've got silt.
It's got hills, it's got whoops, it's got people, it's got stop signs, it's got speed limits, it's got a really crazy dry lake that you just punch it through, hope nothing flies off.
This course is very, very hard on equipment.
You can't make mistakes, because if you make a mistake here, it takes you out, and you're done.
It's going to be a sprint race, and I know someone is going to make it, so we're all going to have to run really, really hard. This is the race where you got to be consistent, you got to be smooth. If you push too hard, you're going to break the truck.
You just finished 400 miles of some of the toughest terrain, everything we could possibly throw at you. You're a finisher, you're excited. You just finished the Mint 400, and that's something pretty special.
And that's why we love the Mint 400. It's about that history, isn't it? It's a history that dies back right into the 60s. I mean, you were here for some of the earlier Mints. I mean, what's it like to be back here now in 2020?
This is scary because the film we showed, you know, the old school, the Andy McMillan colors, I was in the film. You know, that when you saw Parnelli's yellow pickup truck taking off, that was after a pit stop where we threw water in his hands. So there's a lot of history here. I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of that history run through what I do. And the Mint is unique. There's a lot of good desert races, and there's a lot of good desert races in the United States as well as outside the United States. But this one is characterized by its roughness, I mean, it is brutal tough. And as we will see when the race unfolds for us, it gets nastier and nastier as the day goes farther and further. That's when the driver fatigue goes up and the race car's fatigue goes with them.
That's what I find so fascinating about the Mint 400 race course. Is 1 minute we're in open plains, flying across open lake beds, flying at nearly 130 mile an hour in some of those unlimited trucks. And the next minute, they're down to literally 30, 40 mile an hour as they come in through the Joshua Tree sections. And it makes this race incredible. But the other factor for this kind of racing is weather. Now, we saw rain a couple of years ago. Are we going to see any of that this year, or are we looking at bright skies and no clouds and perfect race conditions?
Well, Jim, I've got balls, but they're not crystal, so I don't know.
Well, let's have a quick look. Okay. We've got a weather graphic coming in right now, and it's telling us what our weather conditions are going to be. And that there, Bob, looks like almost perfect race conditions. We could do with a bit more wind, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
But it's looking like we're going to have dry weather out here at Prim Valley, and I can't wait to see what racing we're going to get.
Well, the clarity is going to be amazing for the first 10 guys. Then the clarity for the rest of them is going to be amazing too, but for the other reasons.
Yeah, now let's talk about wind. Why is wind so important in desert racing? It's because of dust. Now, you've raced on these courses many times, and the dust is thick, it's heavy, and that's why qualifying, and today the Methods Wheels qualifying session is so important, particularly for those big hitters. They're going to want clear air out in front of them so they can keep those engines cool, and more importantly, so they can see the course.
Well, what I'm hoping, and I'm sure this is going to be it, is in time trials, different than during the race, in time trials, you do have clean air because they interval the race cars that are qualifying, so everybody gets exactly the same clean shot. You got the same desert, the same sky, the same sun. Go for it, dude, because it matters.
Yeah, now what we got is, when we look at this, I mean, you speak to the drivers and they're all going to tell you the same thing. They want to be on that front row of the grid.
Right.
Let's not forget that we've got so many cars racing here, and I believe they're going to be lining off the grid 2 by 2 every 30 seconds. So they've really got to think about their strategy, and that's why this qualifying session is going to be so interesting and so important.
It is. I'm sure there's those that are going to qualify down a little further on purpose. For example, in our Class 1 cars, there's only 4 on our list that are going to show to qualify. That suggests to me that if I'm a Class 1 guy, I'm not going to go in for qualifying. Jim, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, listen, it's a long race. I don't need to get myself all excited and nervous up. So I'm going to get in there and I'm just going to keep putting along, keep myself clean, keep everything nice, and I'll go to race on the last lap. That's kind of like the only strategy left.
There is if you don't qualify well. That is very true indeed.
Yeah.
But we've got some big hitters, particularly unlimited classes.
Oh,
and we've got some
yes.
guys who are returning to form. Let's talk about BJ Baldwin. Now, BJ's had a rubbish couple of seasons. This is a guy that we've seen win the Baja more than once, and all of a sudden he sort of faded away. But this year we've seen a resurrection of BJ. We saw him on the podium at King of the Hammers at the T1 Desert Invitational. What do you reckon BJ's chances are this year?
You know, that's a hard thing to call because, you know, this luck streak he's been on, you don't know when it's going to end. He didn't know it was going to start. But the point is, I think that if he's smart, he will drive the whole race. His driving style is so almost out there. I wonder if the machine's got what the machine needs.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at some stats. The guys are going to bring up some wonderful stats for us now about the Mint 400. Let's see what we've got here. Just look at that desert. Doesn't it look fantastic? I want to be out there racing myself. This race was first founded by Norm Johnson in 1968. Were you here for that first race, Bob?
No, I came 9 years later.
Still an incredible record, my friend. We've got a 120-mile loop race course. Now, some of these crews out there, depending on your class, are going to be racing 3 laps. Some of the classes, obviously, like the Unlimiteds and the Spec classes and the Class 1s, are going to be doing 4 laps. That's a whole lot of desert to be taken on.
Whoa. You know, you're driving along, and it's the 4th lap. Okay, Jim, you're on the 4th lap. You made it through the first 3. You're still 40 miles away, but you can see the lights out there. You can see it. And you think to yourself as you're going, and you tell yourself, this is a race course?
Absolutely. Now, we've got over 550 teams racing from 17 different countries, and this is something I find really interesting. We've got 62 female drivers of record. How incredible is that?
I think it makes a doggone statement. There's a lot of us have been around racing a long time. It's something that I've seen, my opinion is, you know, there's no difference inside the race car, in my mind, between the genders.
Yeah.
Brains win these races.
Absolutely. We're also talking about the motos as well. Last year was the first year as the motos came back after a big gap here at the Mint 400.
Right.
And we had over 150 different riders coming out here onto the course. This year it's even bigger again. I mean, it's so good to see the motos. And last year it was won by Ricky Brabeck, who, of course, has become the first American to win his class at the Dakar Rally, alongside with Casey Curry and UTV.
Yeah.
So we've got some incredible heroes that are going to be out there on this race course. I'm very excited.
I think it says two things, frankly. It sucks about the quality of the event, the race. It's that high where these kind of guys want to run here. And for the guys that want to run with the big dogs, they're here.
Absolutely. So while we wait for the method qualifying wheel session to get started here at the BF Goodrich Mint 400 at Las Vegas, Nevada, let's pay a few bills, and we'll be back very soon. And welcome back to the BF Goodrich Mint 400 here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm really excited, cannot wait for this Method Wheels qualifying session to get started. This is the first time that we've been able to bring this footage to you here for the qualifying, and it's going to be absolutely immense. We've got 4 classes qualifying today, and we cannot wait to get them on the track.
You know, I'm thinking about qualifying in the past. What it's done for folks, what it's done to folks. It seems that before a race starts, we always do this, Jim. We end up bench racing the last one we saw. I don't know, maybe it's just to get warmed up or something.
Yeah, we keep talking about how important qualifying is. Now, are the guys going to be changing any things on any particular parts of these cars for qualifying? Are they going to be changing trim? Are they going to be changing tyre pressures? Are they going to be working with different setups on their engines?
No, I don't believe they will. Here's why. The qualifying location is not where the race course is. Yet, the territory is very similar to exactly what they're going to race. It has the sharp edges. It has the sand. It has the silt. It has all the things that they're going to find. So there's no reason to lower the car, raise the car, you know, change the gear, do all this kind of stuff, because you're going to race in that.
Absolutely. Now let's talk a little bit about the vehicles that we've actually got racing this year. Yeah. We're seeing that a big race that's been taking place in the unlimited trucks in the last few years, and it's really hotting up now. And that race is the difference between the two-wheel drive trucks and the all-wheel drive, or even the four-wheel drive trucks, and the different types of transmissions. For years, these guys used to race with automatic transmissions and big V8 engines, but that's changing. Companies like Mason are building their own transmissions now. They're also using SADIF transfer gearboxes, and they're also using GearTrax gearboxes as well. So there's lots of changes we're going to see in the race vehicles. And how does that transpire to times on course?
Well, it depends on the course itself. And for example, we were in Laughlin 2 or 3 weeks ago. Four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive cars in that snotty, wet, rainy, muddy, puddly thing. It was like cheating. They could go fast and go now. But what we're really seeing is an evolution that started many, many years ago. Not just the evolution of racers saying, oh, we can do better, I want to go faster, or something like that. Serious R&D money has been spent on transmissions. Serious R&D money has been spent on how do we get both axles to do this and drive the car forward. So the transmissions that you're seeing today are really the result of years and years of R&D. The question that we're going to find out answers to over the next 72 hours is, have they made it yet? Because they break. They
do, but we have just seen Bryce Menzies coming on through with his Mason truck, and he's just won the T1 Desert Invitational out at King of the Hammers, which is also an incredibly rough course. But Luke McMillan was hot on his heels and beat him last year. So it's going to be interesting to see how these cars come around. Then, of course, we've got to talk about the big guns. Rob Max out there. He's a two-wheel drive expert. This guy has won everything there is to win in off-road motorsport. But he's been having some bad luck in the last 3 years. Is it about time that he's due some luck? Is he going to come out here and kick some back?
I don't really know if he is or isn't. The point is, the rest of the field has been advancing, and Rob's had some struggles to work with. He lost a major sponsorship that has been with him for a number of years because that particular sponsor pulled out of motorsports totally. Had nothing to do with Rob.
Yeah, it's very sad to see that that Rockstar have pulled away. But let's, Rob does seem overdue for some luck, and he does seem overdue for some good times. But we've got other guys out there as well. Let's talk about Harley Lettner, for example.
Oh, boy.
I mean, this man, he is a machine when he gets behind the wheel of one of those trucks.
It's showing up to be that there's a terrific partnership between Kevin Thompson and Harley running. We all love watching Harley run because Harley goes gonzo. He's crazy. He's not really. It looks like it on the outside, but he does things differently. He doesn't lift. Nobody plays I Can Save It better than Harley Lettner. That's what I think.
Let's have a quick look now. We've got some piece on Harley coming up right now for us. This is Harley Lettner from 2018, and this is when he came out here in a Class 1 and he showed the big boys how to do it. It was really absolutely incredible. Now, Harley Lettner, if you've never seen him race before, pay attention, because he is something incredible. He is a man possessed when he gets behind that wheel. So in 2018, he came out here in his Class 1 and he gave it down to the unlimited trucks, putting his truck in first position in qualifying and then actually leading the main race for 3 laps before he finally got a flat tyre, had to pull over and relinquish the lead. It was impressive stuff.
I don't think we're going to see another Class 1 do that for a while. And the reason I say that is because the discussion we just finished on the all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, those guys. Listen, technology is changing the sport. And I think that an open-wheel car doesn't have quite what the trophy trucks will have on this race course we're going to see tomorrow.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. And again, it comes back to the weather question. Now, in 2018, we had the rain. It came in right towards the end of the race. In fact, it didn't actually affect our race leaders. No. But the guys who were hanging back in that top 10, it did affect them.
Boy, yeah.
And so if you do have all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, that's going to be a major player. Don't think we're going to see that this year. I think this is very much going to be a dry course situation. Qualifying is going to be very important in my eyes. Get that clear air. We've seen how the dust here out in Prim, it really does fly up in big clouds, so we're going to see those guys wanting to hunt down that clean air when they're out on course. Now, if you were Kevin Thompson, he's a fantastic driver, but you've got Harley Lettner sitting there in your camp. Are you going to say, do you know what, Harley? This is qualifying. This is your moment. Get in that car and drive. Or are we going to see Kevin, who's also an excellent driver, say, hey, actually, I want to go and have some fun?
I don't know who we'll see, because both of what you say, both of those are absolutely correct. My kind of push is to see Harley go, because Kevin did such a good job last time. Let's add some more Hardy. He just excites me. I want to see more.
Yeah, I agree entirely. But also qualifying, it doesn't always go to plan. There are those moments in time where you just think, I got this, and then you haven't. And we've seen some incredible crashes here at the Mint 400. Yeah. Let's just take a look back at a few of those.
Oh, my goodness. Here it is.
I got this, and the next minute you haven't. It goes blue sky, it goes desert, it goes blue sky, it goes desert. How do you feel at that particular moment, Bob? That's a heartbreaker, isn't it?
It really, really is, because he had to sit through that whole thing. I mean, he knew the minute he hit, and he had to sit and watch the whole deal. I'd love to talk to Potts, because there seems to be two ways guys go through wrecks. One way, I don't remember a thing, it all blanked out, I didn't see a thing on it, tell me what happened. And the other is like a slice of nanosecond. You watch the whole crash. When you're the driver and you're crashing like that, you don't want that. You don't want to see that whole thing all over again. So he's probably kicking himself.
Yeah, we saw some incredible crashes there. I mean, we saw the hero, the man himself, Rob Mack, getting it wrong last year. Just clipped the edge of a berm and just sent himself into orbit. So it can happen to the very best of them, and that's why these guys have got to be so on top of their game.
And those two wrecks we saw with the McCachran crack on the screen there, a wreck, and Potts. Potts did it in qualifying, very first thing right out the bat. Rob Mack's crash was actually a go for the lead. It was the last lap, almost like the last ditch attempt, and he had to go for it. So that was what you saw, is like, checkers or wreckers, one of the two.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about this and we're talking about wreckers and crashes, we've got our man on the ground, Ryan Thomas. He's actually down at Apex waiting for the qualifying to start, and we're going to pop on down and see what he's got to say. Ryan, how you doing?
Good morning, race fans. My name is Ryan Thomas, and I am standing in the dirt at Apex Road for the Method Race Wheels qualifying rounds for the 2020 BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400. We're going to take a moment and speak with some of the drivers as they get ready to go out and lay down their qualifying runs. I'm excited to see who's going to end up on the pole today for the 2020 BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400.
Now, isn't that so good to see all those cars lined up, ready for the qualifying to start? And we're only a few short minutes away from the qualifying starting. So it's great to see Ryan down there. Now, Ryan's got a wealth of experience in desert racing, and he's going to be talking to all of those drivers and bringing us all of the news as it happens. Because let's be honest, as people start to cross the line and they start to lay down times, the crews are going to be talking to the other drivers, and strategies might change as parts of the course change. This is an 8-mile qualifying course. This is not a walk in the park.
Well, it's like all the best laid plans in a boxing match. Everything, the plan's great until you get smacked in the mouth. And that's going to happen to somebody out here.
Yeah,
first thing
and let's be honest, this is what the desert does to you. If you're not racing each other at this stage, you're racing the desert.
Tiffany Stone's going to be with us tomorrow. One of her favorite themes to talk about is co-drivers, the person in the right seat. In qualifying, that co-driver doesn't have long to go. He's only got 8 miles, but that's where that co-driver can keep the driver into the game, into the car, breathing through their nose or not.
Now, Bob, you've co-driven with the best of them. I mean, you've won the Baja with sitting next to Robbie Gordon, which must have been an incredible thing. So you're a co-driver. You're sitting there in qualifying. Now, I'm a driver myself, so it's great to have the right guy sat next to you. What do you say to a guy like Robbie Gordon when you're going out there to the Mint 400 and the qualifying session?
You know, truth be told, I just tell Robbie, I tell this to most of my drivers, have fun. Just go have fun. That really is. Unless there's something, you know.
You're going to have to say this to a few of my co-drivers because most of them turn around to me and say, slow down.
Slow down. But, you know, this sounds crazy. I never told Robbie in all the years we ran together for 3 seasons, never once told him to slow down. I did have to tell him to speed up once.
That's interesting. So, okay, the guys that we've actually got qualifying out there today, I'm just looking through the unlimited trucks and who we've got. And we've got Rob Mack is going to be second off the line. Now, we've already spoken quite a bit about Rob. How's that going to play into the hands of Rob? Is it going to see a cleaner, drier course, or would you be preferring to be further back in the pack so that course is cut in and actually ready for you to drive upon?
Well, I believe the sequence of things are going to have the unlimited trucks do the last session of qualifying. They're going to do the Class 1s and then the 6100s, then the Baja trucks. So the course will already be a little bit chewed up. So if I'm Rob Mack and I'm sitting there, or even in his right seat, I'm saying to myself, let's just go. I just want to go. Let's just get this done. Got to get it done. That's all he's thinking about right now. If I'm Rob, I think I would rather start qualifying early on while I still got enough of a race course and less gotchas, less surprises. Yeah. I like getting it done.
Well, we're out here right now for the Method Wheels qualifying session at the B of Goodrich Mint 400 2020. Yeah. And I'm so pleased to be here. But we've got our man on the ground, Ryan, who's down at Apex right now with all the drivers. But he's got Rob McCracken. Let's have a look and see what he's got to say.
Hey, Rob, give it to us.
I'm here with Rob McCracken. Rob, you're second off the line qualifying today. You got a strategy here?
Well, as always, you know, we want to qualify well, really want to be in the top 5. I don't know if we want to be first. This year's Mint 400 is 4 laps, 428 miles, 107 miles per lap. So, you know, I think it's going to be a tough race. You know, it's back in the old days, the races were 4 laps, and by the 4th lap, the track was just destroyed. So I think, you know, qualifying 3rd, 4th, 5th will be fine with me. We are second off in the qualifying run, and, you know, the course will be, you know, a little bit raw as the qualifying happens. It'll probably get a little more blown out, little corners get a little bit wider and stuff like that. So we're happy with our spot. We're just going to go, you know, we're going to run hard, but I'll be happy top 5.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you're the hometown favorite, and I'm hoping for better than a top 5, but that's just me.
Yeah, no worries. You know, ultimately when the green flag drops, you know, you end up going for it, and we've qualified first before, so we'll give it what we got, and we'll be happy with top 5.
Well, good luck, brother.
Right on. Thank you.
That's so cool. Just see how relaxed he looks sitting there in his truck waiting for the off. He's literally less than 20 minutes from putting his helmet on and getting off that start line. It's great to see him looking so relaxed and so happy with the car.
He was happy, but did you see a smile? No, there's no smiles. And I don't know how relaxed he is. I think he's in the zone. He's already started his time trial. I mean, you know, you have to do that ahead of time. His mind is now getting into zone focus. I'm getting here. I know what I'm going to do. And you go through all the – you do this too, Jim, in your Ultra 4. You know, you mentally, you're touching everything. You're feeling everything. I know what I should feel. You're already out there. And I think that's what we saw Rob doing very quietly as he listened to Ryan talk about stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's just quickly touch on Justin Lofton.
Yes.
He was last year's winner, and he absolutely destroyed the field in his 2-wheel drive car. Yep. Now, he's changed tyres this year. How is that going to play a major part? Because this is a course that really does beat up the rubber.
Well, it really does. And, you know, Justin's the only guy that's won. He's won 3 overalls at the Mint 400. And that's
an incredible record.
Oh, you know, who does that?
Justin Lofton.
Justin Lofton does, true.
Well, we've got a few 2-time winners out there as well. But let's have a quick look. We're going to have a look now at some of the rock clips for Justin. I'm not sure if this is Justin, actually, but we're just going to have a look right now and see what we've got. And we'll come back talking about Justin in a moment. Okay.
Well, let me tell you about this tire change. Yes, he changed tire companies. And you asked me, you know, so how's that going to play for him today? Is everything going to go? I don't know. I really don't know. All I can do is look at the last 2 races he debuted the new sponsorship at the Parker 425 this year, and Harry was, like he is, up in the hunt, ready to go.
Yeah.
Pow, tire done.
Yeah, well, in
Lost
fact,
the
we
race.
actually, yeah,
and the same thing at Laughlin.
And we saw the same thing also at the T1 Invitational to King of the Hammers.
Oh, I didn't
In
know
fact,
that.
he actually had a navigational issue during qualifying, and that's something we need to talk about as well, is you can almost lose it right at the start. But here we're just looking at Justin, and this was his moment of glory, where he lifted the title for a third time here at the 2019 Mint 400. It was so good to see. There is no easy way of doing the Mint 400. There's only tough rocks and tough sand.
You have to be tough people to get through it. And Justin and his team proved that.
Yeah. Perfect race car preparation means perfect racing, in theory, but it never quite works out that way.
Can we go back to the smash in the mouth thing?
Absolutely, all day long. So now, talking about the drivers and how they're preparing for this, what kind of seats are we seeing these guys in? And for years and years, we saw the guys in quite heavy suspension seats, but that's starting to change now as well, isn't it? Some of them going down to what we'd call carbon fiber shells, which is similar to what I race myself. So it's literally a carbon fiber shell that you sit into. You have a few back pads, and that is absolutely it. And you rely completely on the suspension of the vehicle for your comfort. What's that like driving in those kind of seats in these kind of races?
I've done both. I like both. The shell seat, I'm learning, because you got to keep learning, is actually, they say, a safer seat for a high impact and those kind of things. So I don't have a preference because I don't have a race car. I get invited in. So the shell seats, very much adjustable, but they have more bolster up here than many seats. They have, down in your hips, down in your waist, so that side forces, side G's, you can relax. You don't have to use your muscles to stay upright and to hold your tension. I like suspension seats because over long races, and there's times, when you're in the race car for 18 hours, more. If you have an adjustable seat, adjustable in the lumbar support. I remember this one seat made by Mastercraft Safety. You twisted the little knob back behind your back, and oh my gosh, it was like starting all over. It was a fresh start. So suspension seats have their pluses. Shell seats have their pluses. I think the trend is now moving, especially in the higher end cars, to shell seats. The question becomes, how do you mount your belts? This is something that is a serious education point that I think our race community needs to learn a little bit more about. You talk to a guy like Jeff Furrier at UPR, and he's showing guys how you take those belts and you run them straight through the back of the seat to a mount, not through the back of the seat and then down to a bar. It's amazing, but it tells me that the learning curve is starting. People are starting to learn. Both seats are good. Depends on what you want to have at the end of the day.
Let's talk about something else here as well. We've also got a lot of young men and young ladies who are breaking through into these classes as well. We've got the Serapises, we've also got the Macmillans, we've got Sarah Prices moving up into the unlimited classes this time as well. And it's so good to see that there's depth in this sport. It's not just about the old guns like Justin Lofton and Rob Mack. It's also about this new generation of racers coming through. I mean, we've got a guy called Jax Redline. Jax is only 15 years of age. It's incredible. But our man down the ground is, we've got our man on the ground, Ryan Thomas is down there at the moment. He's talking to Christian Serapis. So let's have a quick look and see what that says.
Okay.
Christian Serapis, racing with brother Brett. You have what I believe is the only Mason-Matic automatic transmission for a four-wheel drive truck. How's that going to work for you here?
Robert and Neil Mason are two absolute masterminds, and David Maurice, who works at Mason, and those three combined has just made this terrific transmission that's absolutely blistering fast. And it's a 5-speed and pretty much takes the best part of a Turbo 400 and a manual 6-speed transmission and combined them. We've done a bunch of testing and we're pretty confident that we worked out the bugs and we're ready to rumble.
So what's your strategy qualifying here today? Are you going for the pole position or are you going to be happy with the top 5?
Obviously going for the pole is the idea, but then when we get in the car, start going, that's sort of what I have to figure out on the spot. How willing am I to tear my stuff up, because I don't really have that many spare parts, and if we don't want to take ourselves out when we have 430 miles to do on Saturday. So we'll be stoked with the top 5. Obviously the pole is really highly coveted and we want to go for it, but I don't think it's a do or die for first place.
Well, you heard it from Christian. We're wishing you luck on Saturday.
All right, thank you.
So, Brian, one feedback?
So good to see these young guns starting to come through. And Christian Serapis, he's a very old head on young shoulders, an incredible athlete in his own right, and a great driver as well.
Second generation, his father, Steve Serapis, won in a Class 10, won at the Mint 400. I think the biggest purse a Class 10 ever got was like something like $50,000. So he's taught his sons, both of them, Christian and his other brother, they're twins, how to run. These young guys do go fast. And they go fast with precision. It's an awesome thing to watch. The vehicles are helping them. The vehicles, like you say, we have the 5-speed Mason-Matic. Man, oh man, that's the transmission that has had, well, it's received all that massaging for years of developmental work. So I think what you're seeing is young gun, new technology car, lined up to go and go hard.
Now, Bert and Christian, it's really interesting. I was watching them racing at the T1 Desert Invitational the other week. And the wonderful thing I see is the different styles of driving. Brett and Christian are chalk and cheese behind the wheel, but they both get the job done. And most importantly is they bring the car home well. They don't just go out there and smash the car to pieces. They really understand that they're in a race where attrition is a key factor to that. And it's going to be interesting also to see this Mason-Matic. We've already spoken about it. We've got some incredible Mason cars out there, and they really are blazing a trail with the technology that they're working with at the minute. But it's a big ask for a new transmission to come out to a race like this, for nearly 450 miles, and put it all out there on the line. So has this Mason-Matic got what it is, or is it still a prototype box at this stage?
I'm saying it's here. Everything goes under development and stays under development. They're not done with that thing. They won't be done with it for 10 years. But what we got. And I think it's a good thing. He's mentioned something, though. We got 430 miles to go. You know, I'm not sure, but that tells me or suggests to me that there's a little reluctance in his mind about exactly what's going to happen when that flag goes down.
Yeah, he'll be good. Now, we're starting to see here now the cars are starting to make their way out for their parade lap here at the Method Wheels qualifying at the 2020 BF Goodrich Mint 400. And what does that mean? It means these guys, they're going out there, it's a sighting lap basically. So they'll be taken around by a course car, they'll do the whole 8 miles, they'll get a chance to see the course itself, see if there's been any changes made overnight, see if any rocks have kicked out onto the side of the track, and then it's when they come back, it will be go, go, go here down at Prim Valley and down on the Apex course for the qualifying.
Well, the other thing I believe is probably going on in some of those race cars is that the co-driver is mapping this course now on the GPS and making marks. I mean, it's as you can see, it's a very slow, controlled pre-run. It's really a reconnaissance. It's not a pre-run at all. So the co-drivers, at least in the teams that I kind of figure out there right now, are saying, okay, this is a gotcha at speed. This is going to be a 5, a 2, a 3, a 4, or it's on the right, and you're going to mark it so that when they go out that qualifying run, he can be calling up ahead of time saying, okay, in 100 yards, we've got a nasty, a 45 right, or a hole, or a rock. Who knows?
Absolutely. So we're just watching them now as they just follow around that course car, making their way around this course.
I like the way they stretch out, Jim, because everybody's trying to get out of everybody's dust because they're only doing 25, 30 miles an hour.
Okay, while we watch them now going around on their parade lap, we're just going to cut through and have a look at the road to the Mint for the Serapis brothers.
It was always really cool to get to grow up, born into the sport, watch my dad, get to see all my idols drive, and dreaming one day that I would get to compete against some of them and one day get in a race car myself. I remember going to the 2004 Laughlin Desert Challenge, always excited to get out of school, spend a 6-hour drive with my mom driving to Laughlin to go watch my dad race his Class 1 car and trophy truck at the Laughlin Challenge. I've grown up going to Glamis and the sand dunes my entire life. I'd have my little 80 Suzuki and my brother and I would always be racing each other and just always dreaming one day, you know, instead of going 15, 20 miles an hour through the whoops here, I'll be eventually going 120 in a trophy truck. Just growing up, always dreaming that one day. And then at the age of 10, getting in my own trophy car and race car and getting to compete against people and my brothers, it was just the thrill of a lifetime.
I'm sitting in class in elementary school. Whenever I wasn't paying attention in class, I was thinking of a trophy truck. I'd be riding a quad at 6, 7, 8 years old, little LT80 in Glamis, be daydreaming that I'm driving a trophy truck. So whenever I did different avenues like playing sports and doing extracurriculars after school, my heart was always in racing. I was very fortunate to go to college and run track at super prestigious programs like for the Oregon Ducks and the USC Trojans, but racing was where my head was at least a good 90% of the time. So I'm super fortunate that I'm able to do it after college, and to be able to team up with a guy like my brother is just a combination for success.
They loved the desert. They wanted to do more longer drives and stuff like that. So that's where we went. So I said, okay, let's start with a trophy light. Great class, not that expensive. All the cars are the same. They were pretty difficult to drive. So I figured if you could drive one of those, you could drive anything. Then we had the chance, they introduced the 6100 class, which I thought was an excellent class for somebody to learn in. Not a ton of horsepower, great working car. And we started out with a Geyser, and quickly after that got a Mason truck. And that's really where they cut their teeth on their own. They each had their own truck, and they started going, and they had some success.
So my first ever Mint 400 was in Class 6100 with my brother. We were fortunate enough to win the 2015 Mint 400 in the 6100 class by over 20 minutes, which is unheard of in a lot of these races. So we were really fortunate to have a team to get us to that level. And then next year was fortunate enough to hop in my first trophy truck. And that was my second ever race in a trophy truck. I think I had less than 500 miles in a trophy truck. And we finished fourth that year, which I would have never expected to get fourth place in my second ever race with the best competition in the toughest terrain in the United States. So it was almost like a dream come true.
So I was fortunate enough to win the Mint twice, both times in 6100, but I haven't won it overall in a trophy truck yet. And the Mint is just a whole different animal when it comes to competition. At races like the Ball 1000, you're gonna get 30 trophy trucks and guys are gonna team up with each other, but at the Mint, everybody that's somebody is gonna show up with the best they have and throw every wrench, every single strategy to try and win that race, because 60 trophy trucks are showing up and 20 of them have a shot at winning. So to be able to win a race like the Mint not only speaks huge volumes to the program, but speaks huge volumes to how talented of a driver you actually are. Because in trophy truck, when I can say that 20 different drivers can win that race, I'm not kidding. For pretty much Brett and I's entire life, no opportunities were just given to us. We had to earn them, whether it was getting at least a 3.0 GPA in school, or excelling at sports, or graduating college. There was always a goal that was always set aside from racing. And now my brother and I work full-time jobs for the family business. And to be completely honest, I love it. It's the opportunity to follow my dad's footsteps and learn the business from the ground up, doing some of the lowest paying jobs and climbing up the ladder. It's humbling. And not only just to sit around and focus on driving, but to be able to put racing aside and focus on what actually pays for our racing just is awesome.
I don't think many people grow up saying that they're going to be involved in the beer business, and being born into a family business that my grandpa fortunately started back in the 60s, it's just, we never thought this day and age it would spiral out to get to the point where Christian and I would slowly be working our way up to the top and getting to work. And it makes you feel honestly grateful for everything you get, just all the work that we do, all the blood, sweat, and tears we put into our day jobs. That's how we race. That's how we make a living. It's what pays for everything. And just to be able to be a part of something like that, it really makes everything worth it. And you're super grateful going to the racetrack that, because we're involved in such a great family company, we're out here competing. My brother's ultimately my biggest competitor. No matter what you do in life, I think you always want to be better than your brothers. So it was a weird relationship at first, always getting to race against my brother in short course racing, and even in trophy light, we always had our own cars. But when it got to a point where we were moving up the classes pretty fast, and it started getting more expensive, and the races were getting longer. It made more sense for us to team up and split the races. And I think we make a hell of a team.
Our two driving abilities combined, I think, has enormous potential to be something really special. We had a lot of experience and success in 6-100 when we won a championship together, and I don't see any reason why we can't mirror that success in the trophy truck class.
Well, I have a 27-year relationship with BF Goodrich tires, and the reason I have it is because, in my opinion, I'm going to have an advantage on everything, or I'm going to try to. And whether I raced a limited buggy, an open buggy, a trophy truck, they have always, in my opinion, made the best tire out there that gave me the best chance to win.
Having a tire you can depend on is essential for any winning trophy truck team. We've had a relationship with BF Goodrich pretty much since my brother and I started driving with each other. We've gone out testing, tried to hit just about every rock, and the 40-inch tires that they make don't go flat very easily. You would have to make a huge driver error to puncture one of those tires.
We have a ton of confidence in the BF Goodrich brand. We've never had failures with them, and I think honestly right now they're the tire to beat.
Winning the Mint overall with my brother would just be flat out awesome. Brett and I had our first ever win together in Class 6-100 at the 2015 Mint, and just feeling how special that was for us, I still think about that almost every single day, how special that was. And to be able to win it overall with my brother sharing driving duties and my dad being the team manager, I honestly can't even put it into words right now because I'm starting to picture it in my head. But to be able to win the Mint just would prove to everybody and validate that the Serapis brothers are serious and that we can contend at every race we show up to.
The Nevada desert, and especially where we race out there, you're not going to find anything tougher than that.
Winning the Mint 400 would honestly mean the world to me. Getting to check my brother and I's name off the list with guys like Rob McCachran, Andy McMillan, Bryce Menzies, Robbie Gordon, my dad even, just to name just a few people, you're putting your name with those guys as well. And just to even be in the same conversation as them would be extremely humbling.
Well, here we are at the BF Goodrich Mint 400 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada. How good is it to be here, Bob?
It is fantastic. You know, for us, we're at the center, we're at the hub, we're at the middle. We're going to see everything that happens. We're going to hear about everything that happens. It's like a whole day's worth of bench racing. I can't wait.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, we are here for the Method Wheels qualifying. The first time we've been able to bring you live footage of the qualifying here at the Mint 400. And right now, we're watching the guys as they're actually making their way around, doing their parade lap, or if you like, or if they're test lap, just going around that 8-mile course, making sure that everything's okay. And then shortly after that, we'll be getting qualifying underway. And that there is Kevin Thompson, making his way past us. Now, Kevin could, of course, be sharing driving duties with the legend that is Harley Letner this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But these guys are just using this parade lap now just to double check that course, make sure that they know where every lump and bump is. And as you say, they're going to be recording anything of real detail.
Yes. Yeah, here's Lofton. Look at that. He's taking his sweet time.
Absolutely.
This is as slow as we'll ever see these cars, Jim.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Change of livery this year for Justin as he's moved over to Yokohama. And lots of people are going to be watching him intently to see if these tyres are going to do the job out here at the Mint 400.
Well, we just have to see. This desert doesn't care who you are. You know, I mean, we talk about, you know, you got to beat this, you got to beat the other guy, and Christian's talking about all these great luminaries that have won before him. You still have to beat the Mint 400 desert.
Absolutely. And you look at these cars as they make their way around the track, and that track is narrow.
Yes.
It's not a big track, it's a small track. So it takes some feeding getting these cars around these incredibly tight bends.
Well, can you imagine passing, Jim? That's going to be a tough deal because, you know, unless it's a real cooperative pass, it's going to have to be done very clearly, very quickly and crisply if you're going to make passes or they're just going to be plain brutal.
Yeah, of course, they're not looking to be doing any passing today. Today is all about the qualifying,
That's
the method
right.
wheels qualifying here at the BF Goodrich Mint 400. And these guys are just feeling those cars through their fingers. They're just listening to those engines. They're watching those gauges. They're just making sure that everything is absolutely tip-top. I mean, how many times have you gone to a qualifying session, you're lining up, ready to go, and something just stops working for no reason whatsoever?
The radiator starts oozing stuff. Yeah, these things happen. See, look, here he is. He's studying that. They're looking, okay, so what do we have at the bottom here? Looks like he's also sandbagging a little bit to get out of that dust.
Yeah, and it's interesting, we were already mentioning the dust, and that's going to be the big thing on race day. Now we've got another full day of racing before the unlimited cars get on track, and that means that the bull dust is going to start to really build up in those corners. And that's going to play a major part of this race later on.
Well, it will. If we have a breeze, Jim, you know, it's not a wind, there's a difference. If we have a breeze, it's going to help everybody, especially tomorrow and the next day, but even during qualifying. Because if it can clear that piece of desert in front of you for the next maybe 200, 300 yards ahead, and you can actually see exactly what's going on, you don't have to lift. You can go that much less slow. So, you know what's tough is when the wind is blowing from behind you and you're in your own dust and you can't get out. That's no fun.
No, that's no fun at all, that is for sure. And we're not far off now as these guys make their way around through this 8-mile course.
The spectators, or what look like to be spectators out there now, are actually the pro photographers. And
so we're watching now is Justin Lofton, but we're going to pop down to Ryan in the pits, who's got an interview with us with Ryan Millen. So let's go and see what Ryan's got for us.
Okay. I'm here with Ryan Millen, and Ryan, you just told me, and I didn't remember this, you qualified second in this truck last year at this race. Do you have plans for a repeat, or are you going for the #1 spot qualifying this year?
Well, thank you, Ryan. Just, first of all, very stoked to be here, that Terrible Herbs Motorsports invited me to be here. Yeah, last year was a wild ride, so it's that balance of, do you go for the pole, or is it better to sit a couple trucks back and make a better race strategy? So hard to say. Honestly, it's a lot of risk out here today, and we've seen in the past a lot of trucks crash, and how much reward is it to get a pole? I don't know. So.
Well, I think you got about 15 minutes to make up your mind what you're going to do.
Yeah, we do have some time. It's a challenge with two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive. The four-wheel drive guys are always going to have a huge advantage. It's do we make a strategy that's more of a reliability thing? We have great BFG tires. I think our strategy is more endurance and trying to be there at the finish than necessarily being there at the front.
Well, right on. Good luck today, Ryan, and hope to see you tomorrow. Or no, we'll be on Saturday. We'll see you on the podium, hopefully.
Well, we'll see. Thank you very much.
Jim, I'm surprised. What I'm hearing from these interviews is nobody is either committing and telling Ryan, or they haven't figured out what they're going to do until that flag drops. It's a little unsettling, frankly.
I don't think it's unsettling at all. These guys know exactly what they're going to do. But what they're going to tell the public what they're going to do is a different kettle of fish entirely. You know and I know that as soon as you get to that start line, as soon as that flag drops and you hit the dirt, you make your way, you're at that first mile into the track, you start to feel that car, she starts to come alive in your hands, you start to catch it in the turns, and all of a sudden it makes sense. As it starts to make sense, you increase your pace. You start to enjoy that racetrack, and you start to be able to claim your little part of the desert as you blast your way for that finish line.
Unfortunately, someone is going to be thinking behind the car a few times.
Now here's a man, we're just seeing Dale Dondale here on track. Now this is a guy who's been playing with some crazy horsepower in the last few years. Now he's running a big block motor this year, apparently with a single turbo, so it's going to be interesting to watch. Guaranteed that vehicle is going to be over 1,000 horsepower.
Well, it's a pretty new car. He debuted it at Laughlin. We'll have to see how this racer car works, because it's going to be wicked fast. We just don't know how long it's going to be wicked fast.
Yeah, that's very true indeed. Now, Dale Dondale, we saw a few years ago, was actually leading this race for a great deal of it. And And it's going to be interesting to see if he can refine that form. We know he's got the pace. We know he's got the talent.
Yep.
Has he got the car that can get him up to the sharp end of this pace?
The Mint 400 race course will give us that answer.
And not very long now at all.
No, another day. That's what we got.
So here we are. They're relining up now, and they're getting ready for the start of this Method Wheels qualifying at the 2020 BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400 here in Las Vegas, Nevada.
You know, Jim, I'm always interested in seeing everybody standing with a head in the truck and talking to the drivers. Can you imagine how tough it is to make small talk when there's big things going on?
I'll be honest, if I was down there, I'd be wanting to get out the cars and have a look around. There are so many incredible vehicles here racing this year.
Oh. It's like the social hour. Is that Jeff Geiser? No, can't tell.
Yeah, looks like Mike Kim there from Fox.
Could be. Anytime you see two folks talking in race suits, there's lies happening right there.
It's very true indeed. But these are wonderful images that we're getting here from our Method Wheels qualifying session. As I say, we're only a few minutes out. We had some issues earlier today with transponders. They're just putting that right, making sure that all of our trackers, transponders, and everything is going to be working perfectly so we don't get any timing issues. As we're just watching guys here making last-minute tyre adjustments. And we were talking about that earlier. Are they going to make changes to their tyres? Now, these guys have just gone round and they've just done a parade lap. And they've come back and they're starting to look at tyre pressures. That tells me that something's different out there to what they expected it to be.
Or the tire company engineer said, here's what you need to set your tires for. And they're saying, you know, it doesn't sound right to me. I'm going to do this. And end of day, we'll find out who was more accurate. The guy who designed the tire or the guy who destroyed the tire.
And we're just watching Bryce Menzies here. He's just on the phone to the wife at the moment saying, yeah. If you can pick up some shopping on the way back, that'll be absolutely wonderful. And you know that funky lip balm, you know, the coloured stuff? If you get me some of that, that'll be absolutely wonderful. But no, this is Bryce Menzies. Bryce Menzies is an absolute legend of unlimited truck racing. He's driving the new Mason all-wheel drive trophy truck, and he took it to success at the KOH, Desert Invitational only a few weeks ago. He's really on top of his game right now, and he had a huge battle with Dan McMillan. So it's going to be very interesting, Andy McMillan. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he fares in this race, and you know that he's going to want to win this prologue.
I expect him to do better now, today, and tomorrow and the next, and Saturday, than he has up to now. The factor that hasn't been talked much about, his co-driver, Orrin Anderson.
Yeah, we're going to toss back down to our man Ryan, who's down in the pits, and he's got Hector Lodezo with him. So, Ryan, tell us what you got.
You've heard of off-road racing royalty and multi-generational families, and I have a member of one of those families standing next to me right here. This is Hector Ledesma, and the Ledesma family goes back for 3 decades in off-road racing, and this is a bit of a bucket list, I understand. You guys are first off the line qualifying for the 2020 Mint 400, and this is your first time driving in the Mint 400 in a trophy truck. Is that right?
In a trophy truck, yes. Me and my son raced here in 1994. We won the Mint on the 516 here, but I haven't been since. Been about 5 years. I haven't driven a race car, so it'll be. Racing something like this. I thank my nephew over here that's sponsoring the truck. That's his truck, and I guess he's trusting me with it. So,
Sorry.
But we started in 1979. Our first, doing motorcycles. My first ride was King of Off-Road. Mickey Thompson gave me my first ride.
Well, I think it's a special thing for you to be first off the line here. I wish you a lot of luck. And do you have a strategy here? What are you shooting for?
Finish.
There you heard it from Hector Ledesma, who wants to see the finish line.
We keep talking about how off-road motorsport is a family affair, and it's great to see these guys here now. But speaking of family, we've got someone else joining us in the booth. He's one of our own off-road family. It's Scott Wren. Scott, how are we doing?
It's been an awesome morning. You guys already know I've been up at Fremont Street this morning. I can't believe everything that's going on right now. The fans are coming in on the way here to Prim. The traffic of race cars still pulling into town. There's so much going on. It's kind of like I envision it as, You walk up the little anthill, that little crack in the sidewalk, you kind of kick that little anthill, all of a sudden they all scatter.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this whole city is like right now, from Prim all the way to Vegas. A bunch of ants just really making things
let's
happen.
talk about that, because a lot of people think that the Mint 400 is a one-day race. It is not. It's a 4-day festival of off-road racing.
And it just keeps getting bigger every single year.
Absolutely. The Martellis are really expanding this. We've got a great big party happening in town tonight. It's going to be so much action going on. So we've got the wonderful Method Wheels qualifying happening right now, which we're going to get started very soon. And then, of course, it's just so much more racing. So if you're around and about in Las Vegas, Nevada, get down here. Get to Fremont Street, see our contingency, see the party. I believe it's tonight was also the Pit Crew Challenge.
The Pit Crew Challenge, as well as the crowning of the Miss Mint 400. And the thing is, the vendors are up and down Fremont Street. I mean, if you're local and you were looking for something, kind of want to do something with tires or wheels or suspensions or whatever it may be, any kind of merchandise, it's everything there. Not maybe necessarily off-road, but it's car, truck, SUV related. Go down there and check it out, man. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
What I see is that the Mint 400 has become a very different flavor of a desert race for most folks. The rub on desert racing is it's not very spectator friendly because they're all the way out there and somewhere else and you can't see them. Now, the way the Mint 400 has evolved, this is a spectator extravaganza. You can get here on Tuesday and be entertained 12 hours a day, and you don't have to touch a race car. You don't have to own a race car. You don't have to spend an entry fee. You can come in and marinate in this.
What's cool about this also is that the Martellis have worked with the BLM, and in areas where the race used to go, they would be permitted just to race through that area. Nothing else can go on, just the race course through that area. Well, now they've worked with BLM, and there's areas out there in the desert where you can buy tickets to go spectate that part of the course. You could be there where all the action is, and with the blessing of the BLM.
All under control, too.
It's all under control, yes. Safety is number one, and it starts with us. And the Martellis have really worked with the entire staff to keep them safe all across the course and out here at Prim, but also for the fans. It's just so, you pegged it, fan-friendly. Somehow they've taken the stadium environment of a Mickey Thompson or a short course race and brought it to the desert. I don't know how they've done it.
You can still smell the hot dogs.
Yeah, exactly. And we got gourmet chefs here this weekend in the VIP area. It's all-encompassing. This truly is a spectator-friendly event, desert racing, and just the fact that these guys could keep raising the bar every single year. Hell, they brought you in 2 years ago from the UK.
Absolutely.
You're not local?
No, I'm not. But I am incredibly proud to be here at this 2020 Mint 400. But it's also not just about the people, it's about the sponsors as well. And very shortly, we're going to fly down to Ryan again, who's speaking to Peter Calhoun, who is the motorsports manager for BF Goodrich Tires.
I'm here with Peter Calhoun from BF Goodrich Tires, and this is a pretty good proving grounds for the products that you guys build in the motorsports world, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously the Mint 400 is one of the toughest races in North America, and especially in the States. The terrain, as we can see just at our footsteps right here, is very rocky, a variety of just sizes, sharpness, and everything. So it really is a true test of the toughness of our tires over the next couple of days.
Yeah, and it's one thing to build tough tires, but then to build the tough tires that they can also perform and have the traction and the feedback that you're looking for behind the driver's seat. BF Goodrich has got a knack at that.
Yeah, obviously there's been a lot of evolution in the unlimited trucks in the last few years. We have both rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive trucks this weekend, automatic gearboxes, manual gearboxes. But I think to your point, the big revelation in the last 5-6 years has been the 40-inch tire. And the amount of suspension travel they have. But when you're fucking 800 to 1,000 horsepower, they got to get that power to the ground, and tires have been key for that.
Yeah, the big conversation these days is regarding four-wheel drive and two-wheel drive. I think there's no question that the four-wheel drive trucks are here to stay. Any predictions on what we're going to see on Saturday?
Well, we've obviously had a lot of evolution on the all-wheel drive trucks in the last 2 years or so, too. The Mason Group in particular has had a lot of evolution that people are picking up on those trends. They haven't had quite the reliability yet, and when we have a difficult, rocky course like we're going to have on Saturday outside of Prim, it truly puts a test. A lot of people are saying go with the reliability, the durability that's been proven for decades now with the two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive trucks, but the all-wheel drive trucks are coming, so it's going to be very interesting on Saturday, especially with that fourth lap this year.
But I think we're getting close to the critical mass with the number of trucks to really speed up the R&D process of that. So this year could be the year we may see a four-wheel drive truck win the Mint 400.
Yeah, we'll see on Saturday evening, but yeah, there's no question. Again, that evolution's been coming. There's quality teams out there with engineering support behind them, with money behind them. But don't give up on the two-wheel drive trucks yet.
Not happening.
Okay, thank you very much to Ryan and to Peter Calhoun from BF Goodrich Motorsport. But that there is our first car on course. So we are live on course now at the Method Wheels four-wheel qualifying here at the 2020 BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400. Just how cool is this to see, Bob?
It's amazing. You know, generally you have to wait to find out how'd you guys do, because this is a restricted area, by the way, Jim. The public isn't allowed in here, so we're getting to see it firsthand. And, you know, based on our discussion about what a fan-friendly race this is, listen, you guys, all you folks out there that are watching this live feed, think about coming next year. Think about taking that commitment. It's just something else to feel the race cars and hear them too.
Yeah, absolutely. But what we do get, the advantage of being able to watch at home, and thank you to the Martelli brothers and our amazing production crew, is we get to bring you live desert racing from right out here at the Apex Park in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is quite something.
I mean, look at the scenery there, Bob. I mean, you go back to your early days of racing. And what's kind of neat is you and I were talking about this last night. I've been kind of snorting around on the internet and found some pictures of you when you were co-driving with Robbie Gordon, and he was young looking, you were young looking, and to see where this sport is at right now, as I believe that's Cody Parkhouse now on the course. How have things changed? Did you ever imagine something like this?
Well, in qualifying, no, we didn't do any qualifying back then. You line up and you took your number, and that was it. In fact, the Mint 400 kind of assigned you a number, and that was your starting sequence. So how fast you were when you arrived didn't matter. Now it's serious, because the differences between cars are seconds, not minutes, not hours. Plus, they've got some things that in the race itself, we didn't have GPS. You know, it was like you had to know where you were going to go. You had to figure it out and remember it when you came back next time. We didn't have wheel travel. Like the levels, look at that. This is a 40-inch tall BF Goodrich KR3. We didn't have 40-inch tires. We thought we were styling with.
They're on tractors.
Well, yeah. I mean, we thought we were styling with 33s because they were like taller than the 31s. And that was the big deal. Then it went to 35. And what these tire diameters do for the race truck, for the race vehicle, is it allows them to roll through big holes and big obstacles much more easily, so that you stress the vehicle less, you stress yourself less, and you know that as those holes get big on the fourth lap, man, oh man, the guy that's got 40-inch tires has got it over the guy that doesn't.
You know, there's something else and we had great conversations last night about this sport. Yeah. That it's no longer a race of survival per se, as much as it is a sprint race. There's really no saving the trucks anymore. They can't afford to do it because everybody's getting faster and faster. You were talking about the four-wheel drive technologies and where the trucks are right now. To keep up with the Bryce Menzies of the world, these other guys really had to step up, and they can't save their equipment. It's all the way to the floor the entire race.
You know, that is the dilemma, and everybody in the race cars during time trials has to deal with that, because in a certain respect, the race itself is like pulling the pin on a hand grenade. You know, you got to go, but at the same time, you've got to find ways to preserve what you've got so that it falls apart 3 feet past the finish line, not 3 feet before it.
I believe that's Mitch Armstrong on course right now in the 6171. And let's talk about the 6100s now. A fairly brand new class, the last 2 years or so, has really come into us up. Everyone's talking about the four-wheel drive. It's almost like, I don't want to say the 6100s are an afterthought, but everyone's keeping an eye on them as well, because they're really starting to come along.
Well, they're much more affordable than a trophy truck. You know, a trophy truck is great. They're amazing technology, but they're not for everybody. So a 6100 car is essentially the suspension of a trophy truck. This is kind of crude thinking, but the suspension of the trophy truck system with a limited engine, a limited Well, they don't. They do things underdrives, and they also must run a 40-inch tire. The lesser cars run a 37-inch tire. So when we're talking about the Baja trucks, which is what we're watching now, you're looking at probably 9/10 of a trophy truck.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I look at it.
I kind of compare it to the Class 1, Class 10 scenario.
Yeah.
Where the chassis are somewhat the same. It's just a motor difference.
Yep.
The same thing with the 6100 and the Unlimiteds. It's kind of, I mean, that's very generally speaking, but that's how I'm able to relate it to people that aren't real familiar with the desert racing.
Right. We're getting a little bit of a time in here now. It looks like I can almost read that screen. I think that Cody Parkhouse, it looks like on his lap time was
431.4.
140.
So Cody Parkhouse in his Class 1 is currently leading the field at the moment. And we're seeing Mitch Armstrong in his limited 6100 class vehicle there, just posting a 5:07. So very good indeed to see. But I can tell you now, as we're just watching Pierce Herbst lining up there on the line, that we are actually going to get onboard footage from Rob Mack when he gets out on track, and I can't wait to see that.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
But let's have a look now as we're cutting back onto course. Seeing some fantastic vehicles. And
Is that
look
Raphael?
at this. That is Raphael.
Yep.
Now, we're chatting to the guys from Pete's camp last night, and they are supremely confident. 3 generations of racers out here this weekend, and it's good to see them looking so strong out there on this course.
And a very tight family too, Jim.
They were all smiles last night.
Oh.
Man, so much confidence, like you said, Jim. They were so happy to be here, and I've known them, for a little while now. Wow. There's a legend there, right there.
Well, this is the beginning of a legend. This is Pierce Herbst. I think Pierce is probably all the way up to 17, maybe. This is 15, maybe. I'm not sure. What a fine young man. Watching the levels go through. This is a geyser truck, and this is their second season now with the car. When you talk to Brad, the thing he likes about it, he says it's tough. He says you can drive into things and hit things. It's an older truck, so it doesn't have maybe all the new sprint this and sprint that. But if you match that thing up with Lovell's skills, I'd give him a pretty good shot at walking with this thing.
Yeah, last year we saw them coming into this race for the first time, and they were incredibly confident and placed down a very good time indeed. But let's just talk about the differences between the 6100 spec class vehicles and also these, we're calling them Baja trucks that we have here.
Yeah.
So the 6100 is the more classic spec class unlimited vehicle, and that is running a 37-inch tyre. It's running up to 420 horsepower, and all of the vehicles in that class are limited to that. But there was a breakaway. We had this new class suddenly appear, which the Lovels are racing in, these Baja trucks. And these vehicles are allowed the same chassis as the 6100s, but they're running a 40-inch tyre with an underdrive, are allowed up to 525 horsepower.
Tell us what an underdrive does for us, Jim.
One underdrive, what it does, it takes in the basically what it does is it reduces the drive. Okay, so these guys are able to use the same gearboxes, but they are able to get the drive down on the 40-inch tyres. The 40-inch tyre requires more power to drive it, so it's a different way of doing the same thing. So you're getting that full unlimited truck feel with those 40-inch tyres, but with a restricted motor sitting in there, which makes it a more affordable type of motorsport, which gets more guys in here and gets more guys in the desert, and that's got to be a good thing.
Well, first time I heard him talk about an underdrive, I thought, well, I've heard of overdriving, but how do you underdrive and win? You can't do that.
Well, it's all to do with getting your pinion ratios to the correct selection, and it's just an easy way for these guys to make these cars work well out on course. But we're now starting to see some times coming in now. Cody Parkhouse with a 4:31, Brad Lovell with a fantastic 4:38 there. Heath Sharp with a 5:15, and Mitch Armstrong with a 5:07.
So Lovell's on top, huh? Looks like it.
Yeah, he looked very, very strong.
Yeah, so
you mentioned last year he came into this so confident with the brand new truck, and they showed it right off the get-go. And when they hit the podium, you were so tickled pink to talk to him up on stage after the race. They were so ecstatic. They were so happy and kind of almost shocked that the truck did that well right out of the box.
Well, they were shocked. The trouble with this doggone stuff is that we have so many good close friends. And Lovell's one of mine. He and I have shared quite a few miles in the cockpit of a race car.
Okay, well, we're looking at this more fantastic qualifying session on the Method wheels, qualifying wheels. We're looking at our score sheets here, and we can see that Cody Parkhouse is still actually running at the fastest time with a 4:31. And we've got our man Ryan down there taking an interview with him right now.
Cody Parkhouse, you won this event last year. You looking for a repeat this year?
Of course, every race we go to, we're looking to win. But yeah, it'd be great to get a back-to-back win here at the Mint 400.
So you guys do good down in Baja too. This is a little bit different without being able to pre-run. How does that affect your race strategy, no pre-running?
We take it a little easier at first because obviously there could be some gotchas out there that we don't really know about. But it's a 4-lap race, so basically the first lap's kind of a pre-run lap. You know, we do about a 80% or so of our pace, and then kind of take it from there once we kind of see what we need to see and kind of see what some times are shaking out to be, and then we can start really getting after it.
Are you predicting you'll be up in there with the unlimited trucks?
Of course. Yeah, no, we usually run pretty well, so you know, I think we will win Class 1, and I think we're hopefully going to be in top 5 overall, so we'll see.
And strategy for qualifying today, are you looking for that pole? I'm assuming you are. Are you going to push hard or kind of take it easy and make sure you save the car?
Yeah, I mean, qualifying, we're going to push. That's the whole point of it. So we want to start first and just be able to set the pace and run in some clean air.
So I noticed you got 40-inch BF Goodrich tires on your car here. How's that feel driving on that big of a tire in a buggy?
Oh, it's great. We made the switch at the beginning of last season, and we were ecstatic as soon as we started driving on them because it just, with the same setup, the course feels that much smoother because that much bigger of a tire takes up less of the hole. So we were thrilled once we'd made the change.
Yeah, I think that's a common adage, the bigger the tire, the smaller the hole. Well, hey, best of luck to you, and we'll be looking for you in the podium.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Okay, here we are at the Method Wheels qualifying session at the 2020 BF Goodrich Tyres Mint 400. And that was Cody Parkhouse, who's our current fastest qualifier here today.
Yeah, we're getting to some of the 6100s showing some time. And the more, what we got? 4, I think, have qualified, and I think the more that come up to the line, the more impressive that time is that Brad Lovell is thrown down in that class.
That's exactly what I'm looking at, Scott.
Yeah.
My goodness, he's only 7 seconds slower.
And mention Pierce Herbst, who was just out there in the course, right there behind him.
I didn't see Pierce's time.
4:43 to the 38 of Brad Lovell.
Look at that.
Rafael Navarro is in the 4:45 range, and Heath Shoup is in the 5:15. But right now, everyone is still, no matter what class it is, everyone is looking at that time of Cody Parkhouse, the 4:31.
And let's not forget 2018, it was that man, Harley Letner, in a Class 1 vehicle that actually out-qualified everybody else this day. Is it possible that Cody Parkhouse can do that today?
I think it's possible, but I keep going on. I guess you'd say this is a momentum sport. To go from one event to the next, and you got a hot sessions.
I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I don't think it is. Okay, Bryce Menzies,
that's who I was going to use,
and Harley Letner. Those are my 3 reasons I don't think that time will stand.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go with Bryce Menzies just because he had such a dominant event a few weeks ago at the King of the Hammers. That truck was absolutely flawless. And you had mentioned Oren doing the job behind the co-driver, and it's coming to a point where co-drivers are more than just tire changers. You know,
well, it's always been that way. Let me tell you, as a co-driver for 39 years, I'll tell you what, you don't just change tires. Depending on the car, and the gelling that's going on inside of Bryce Menzies' car between him and Oren right now is good. You know, it takes a number of events to finally gel inside the cockpit of the race car, and I think that they're coming closer and closer all the time. I tell you what I'm impressed with is Pierce Herbst. He's qualified 3rd so far, behind Lovell, Terry Householder. It's just amazing. This is a good young man. That Herbst family is a bunch of racers. You know, Riley Herbst just took second place at
Fontana.
Fontana, that's right. Not Vegas, Fontana.
It's amazing how many young drivers in asphalt racing because it's not just NASCAR.
Right.
It's also ARCA and a few other series. It's amazing how many young drivers are out there turning laps and doing very, very well that came from off-road, whether it be the desert or whether it be short course. It's amazing.
Well, car control is a big deal in off-road, far more than it is in the pavement, because you're so much out of shape. And plus, in the desert, you got takeoffs and landings, Scott. You don't have to, you don't want to do that on the pavement.
Looks like Travis Williams just crossed the line. He's currently third quick in the 6100 class. So a lot of 6100s going out kind of like back to back to back.
Yeah, they're going to be putting them out in class order. There has been a slight reversal on some of the on the expected qualifying placement today, but it looks like we're back on track now. And just look at the speed that these guys are coming down. You see the flames from the exhaust there as he makes his way around the track. Let's not forget, this is an 8-mile qualifying course. No room for surrender. It's absolutely full attack for these guys.
You know, I'm sure you guys covered this at the start of qualifying, but exactly how many classes are qualifying today? How many numbers are we looking at?
We got 4 classes that are qualifying. Class 1 had 4 listed. Only 1 has taken the time trial so far. 3 haven't done it yet. There's 3 of the 6100 trucks. There's 21 of the Baja trucks, and Unlimiteds, holy moly. Unlimiteds, we got 25 of them.
Oh, wow.
That are going to qualify.
Yeah, it's worth noting that these guys can choose not to qualify if they wish.
It's an elective choice, and I can see that some of the guys that are qualifying now at the time trial are thinking like the guys that aren't. Is saying, you know, we got to get into this race. We got to take our time. We have to let the race come to us. The only lap that matters is the last one, and all those wonderful little lies that people tell.
Well, the other thing is, too, I'm sure these guys are looking at the weather. What's the weather supposed to be like this weekend, particularly on race day? Yeah, and it's supposed to be warmer, much warmer than today or tomorrow, in fact. And so I'm wondering, with that heat comes more dust, more dry. And I'm wondering if they're kind of looking at that factor, looking at what are they calling for, what kind of wind conditions.
Wind would matter. The heat and everything else, we aren't going to get hot enough to matter here. It won't change the desert. It's already dry. It's already dusty. It'd just make it for a much more pleasant race day, particularly well for the teams. You know, the ones that are stuck in the pits. You know, you can freeze yourself out there, and if you're cold, you're moving slow. And if you're moving slow, someone is getting pitted slow.
Okay, as we're watching here, more vehicles on course. Our current leader is Cody Parkhouse, sitting with a 4:31 in Class 1. But in the Baja trucks, it's Brad Lovell leading up with a 4:38. And then in the 6100s, it's Mitch Armstrong. And they're all laying down some absolutely superb times here. But 4:31 is the current time to beat.
Do you think after, you know, seeing what the time was for the Unlimited trucks, Brad Lovell's going, I'm wondering if we have a shot, should we go kind of mix it up with the Unlimiteds come race day?
No, Brad is watching over his car, his race, his way.
We know how the Lovells race. The Lovells will want to be there at the finish. They look after their cars. They're experts at doing so. We've seen them do it time and time again in so many different races. You can guarantee one thing is certain, they will be there at the end.
Well, and their truck this year, it's a geyser. And it's a proven geyser. It's not brand new out of the box. So they know they have a tough platform. And when you talk to Brad, he talks about it. He says, I can hit things way harder than I think I can hit things. And the truck just soaks it up. He's a very quick driver. That's why he's on the top right now. It'll be interesting to see if any of these cars can best his time. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, he's currently sitting there at the moment with a 2-second lead over Terry Householder, who's placed in a very good time there. So it's great stuff there from Terry. And in third, we see Travis Williams, and fourth, Pierce Herbst. But look how close it is. There is literally less than 20 seconds separating the top 8 in that in the Baja truck class.
It's always amazed me that, okay, they're out there qualifying, they're all running the same course, but out of every boulder out there, every turn, every berm, every rut, that qualifying comes down just a mere seconds, over 8 miles.
Yeah, it does.
Just mere seconds.
From the cockpit, from inside the car, here's what you're really trying to do when you qualify. You're not trying to go faster. I know it sounds upside down. You're trying to go less slow. Meaning, on some of these sweeping turns, if you carry a half a mile an hour faster into these turns, you're going to carry it all the way through. 8 miles, 150 turns. Who knows? All you have to do is be a 1/10 of a second quicker, 1/10 here, 1/10 there. So you don't slow down as much, and that's probably one of the things that they're really trying to do. Look at that, beautiful. He's keeping it on the ground. He could have flown that, but he didn't. He kept it on the ground.
And the action keeps on coming here at the Method Wheels qualifying at the 2020 BF Goodrich Mint 400. And our man Ryan is back down in the pits again, and this time he's got an interview with Ryan Acero. So we're going to pop down to the pits and see what Ryan has to say for us.
Ryan Arciero, driving the Levi's truck. What's your strategy today for qualifying, bud?
That's funny. We all of us drivers are so competitive. Obviously, the #1 spot is what we want, but we also want to make sure we have a truck that can go race come Saturday. And we're out here at Apex. Apex is synonymous for tearing trucks up, and the last thing we want to do is hurt this truck. So for us, I think strategy is go as fast as the truck will let me go. Make sure I have something good underneath me, because when I take that green flag Saturday, the only thing that matters is winning the Mint 400.
So big question of the day, are you at a disadvantage without four-wheel drive?
I love the fact that we're in a two-wheel drive. Now we're considered the underdogs. You never would have thought that with a two-wheel drive before, but I like that challenge. I'll take it on, and we're going to give the four-wheel drives hell.
You heard it. That's Ryan Arciero.
And that's fantastic there for Ryan Acero. I love the fact that his strategy, we were talking about it earlier. I just want to make sure that cars underneath me come race day.
It's beautiful. Ryan is very good. He said two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. I'm happy with two-wheel drive. What he failed to mention was his cotton-picking Joe Gibbs motor in there. So these guys aren't talking about. So he's got all that go, and we'll see how it lives. Next to him was Travis Moores, his co-driver. He and Ryan Arciero grew up together. He and Travis do a really good job. They got a win this year. They already got one win.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer now.
Look at the helicopters coming in, man, oh man.
To seeing those big boys out there on the track. But at the moment, it is Cody Parkhouse who is leading with a 4:31 in the Class 1 car. Leading up the Baja class is Brad Lovell with a 4:38. And then leading up the 6100s is Mitch Armstrong with a 5:07.
No, Mitch is the only 6100 to actually go out on course, correct?
So far, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have other trucks down that could qualify today, but whether they take the line or not, we don't know.
Now, Bob, you've watched the T1 trucks or the unlimited trucks out there at the King of the Hammers, and you were watching the differences between the four-wheel drive and the two-wheel drive, and you know this course very, very well. And you know this course very, very well, and every section that they're out there running. This course itself, what does it favor? The two-wheel drive or the four-wheel drive, do you think? Why so?
Oh. I think that the four-wheel drives are the animal. That is the animal for this stuff. And here's what makes them faster. They can leave quicker. All four tires are pulling forward. They can, when they on the high-speed stuff where it's curves like that, four-wheel drive, I've said this for years, is like cheating. Because those front tires, boom, they just pull you through the turns. And depending on what sort of a transfer they have between the front and rear axles, there's guys that are running a viscous system that runs 80% to the front axle and 20% to the rear. So at speed, it wools you right through the turns. Learning to drive it takes a little while, but once you got it figured out, Scott, you're going racing.
It's interesting you say that, though, but there's a whole load of incredibly talented two-wheel drive vehicles out there.
Yes.
We've got Justin Lostom. We've got Luke McMillan, Dan McMillan. There are so many guys out there who are capable of taking that win. Rob Mack, Dale Dondale, the list goes on and on and on. And yes, I have to agree that those four-wheel drives, they are certainly going to be out there. They are going to be the hares of this race, that is for sure. But you can bet your life it's going to be two-wheel drives that are going to be hounding them all the way to the finish line.
Well, you know, we're focusing on four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, everything else. Let's keep it real. The truck doesn't win the race. The transmission doesn't win the race. That driver does. And that's the factor that makes the difference.
It's that whole package. I mean, the Mint 400 is a sprint race, and how many times have we seen people and they just get one flat tire and that's their race done?
See ya.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say that, okay, we pick your favorite four-wheel drive truck out there and driver and your favorite two-wheel drive? I just, on a course like this, I just don't see how you put those two side by side and it's going to be a fair race. You said yourself, it's almost like cheating.
Yeah, it is. It feels that way. It's because it's like now you're driving.
Well, yeah, we're not saying they're cheating. We're just saying.
Yeah, correct. The great late Rod Hall said it's like driving the whole truck. He looked at it as the front axle has to go to work. So it is going to be interesting to see how it goes out. I can see that, well, I believe the trending is all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, however we end up labeling it, is definitely here now. Whereas before it was only a one-off experiment, you know. Now there's more guys doing it, and there's a lot of money being spent on the technology. I keep referring back to that, but, you know.
It's fair. I mean,
the deal is if you got the dough, you can do with it what you want.
Okay, so let's think about another way then. We're talking about four-wheel drive, we're talking about all-wheel drive and two-wheel drive.
Yeah.
What about man versus girl? We've got Sarah Price racing this year in the Unlimited trucks. Now, this girl is Ironman, or Iron Lady, should I say, the Baja 1000 last year. She's an incredible talent. Has she got what it takes to be on the top step at the end of this weekend?
Yes. Bob says yes.
You notice how long it took him to answer that?
It was a millisecond.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's why, guys. It's it takes brains to win these races. I don't care who you are. I don't care what gender you have. If you're smart, you can win. If you're stupid, you can't win. I like easy black and white comparisons. And frankly, I'm not sure that mentality has gender. I really don't think so. One of the I was taught how to win in a racetrack back in the day when I was co-driving for Ivan Stewart in Charlotte Corral's Class 8. Charlotte
that was a hell of a name drop there, Bob.
Charlotte Corral, right? Charlotte, actually though, Charlotte was she was something. She taught us how to win. She's a tough gal, but it was all mental. I mean, that's what we learned from her is how to keep your cool, how to overcome whatever's in your way, including a car that isn't working well. I think that female racers have everything equipment-wise that male racers have.
They have. In fact, only a few weeks ago, we saw Bailey Campbell actually leading King of the Hammers, and she looked like she was going to
quite a while.
And she looked like she was going to bring it home and be the first female to ever win King of the Hammers. Unfortunately, mechanical failure happened, which is a real shame. But these girls have the skills, and I think it comes back to it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. You have to go through that hard school of knocks. And the interesting thing with Sarah Price is she's done exactly that. She's worked her way up through the vehicles, up through 6100, and she now finds herself as she's really worked on her ability, and that's what I think makes her so special. But she's going up against some incredibly great drivers here.
I was with Sarah and a bunch of other folks. We were at Road Atlanta about 3 weeks ago, and I'll tell you, she is no slouch on the pavement either.
Hey guys, we kind of missed some qualifying times. Brad Lovell has fallen off that top spot. Right now, it's actually Joe Brain with a 432 flat. Justin Blower right behind him at a 438.6, and Lovell 0.2 of a second back behind that. No, that's what I was talking about earlier. 8-mile loop, all those rocks, all those ruts, all those jumps, 0.2 of a second in an 8-mile lap.
How many places are there to find 0.2?
That's absolutely mind-blowing, yeah.
Well, a little blue haze coming out of the back. Is that dust or a sick truck?
There's still plenty of action here coming from the Method Wheels qualifying at the 2020 BF Goodrich Tyres Mint 400. It's great to see, but as you say, it's only mere seconds that separate these vehicles. Cody Parkhouse is still in first position in the Class 1s with a 431. Then in the Baja trucks is Joe Brain with a 432. In second, Justin Blower with a 438. And you say Brad Lovell with a 438. So it's all to play for. And we've got the first of the Unlimited trucks now on the track. It's car 56, Fred Lesemer. So here we go, guys. It's the big guys now. So what's Fred going to do here? Is he going to be able to put it in front of Cody Parkhouse? Or as he said earlier, he just wants to get to the end of this race. So I think we're going to see maybe not all guns and glory from this guy.
Well, there's no lack of driving experience with Mr. Ledesma. They grew up on 516s in the Mexico desert. And now he's driving something a little bit faster. And as he said in his interview with Ryan, that he hasn't been driven a car in a long time. So his qualifying time may reflect a little rustiness.
And this is an interesting gentleman. That is Jordan Brenthal on the track, one of the two Brenthal brothers that make these fantastic cars. And he'll be pushing very, very hard for a win here this weekend.
Yeah, I can't help but think that if these guys are come out qualifying and go through the effort and the extra preparation to qualify today, that they're not just out there doing an extra lap trying to get some testing in or anything. They're going for that top spot. They want to start up front.
This is serious stuff.
Okay, here we are. We're here for the Method Wheels qualifying at the 2020 BF Goodrich Tyres Mint 400. That's Jordan Brenthal. We're just going to pop out to a very short commercial break, and we'll be back with you very soon. And welcome back to the Method Wheels qualifying here at the 2020 BF Goodrich Tyres Mint 400 at Las Vegas, Nevada. Out on track now, we've got our unlimited cars who started to race. And that there is your friend, Bob. Boo.
Both of them are your friends.
No,
he's friends with everybody, man.
He's everyone's friend. But that there is the man, the legend that is Rob Mack. Rob Mack, of course, absolutely unmistakable. And just check this out. We have got live footage from inside Rob Mack's car as he's on our qualifying course today.
Wow, you always wonder what's going on in there when you see them doing that. Are they going crazy? Is it crazy? Is it chaos? I tell you, it looks really simple, straightforward business. People are relaxed.
I know it's always fun to watch the driver and what they're doing and what they're concentrating on. But right now, it's actually more enjoyable for me to watch the co-driver just hanging on.
Well, he's hanging on just right. He's relaxing. He's not forcing his head to stay up there. He's not doing that kind of stuff. That's how you last a long time in a multi-hour desert race.
Yeah, for people who are watching at home, you'll see that below their helmets, they have what looks like a little skirt there, and that's a dust skirt. That keeps the dust from blowing up inside of their helmets. You'll also see that there's a tube on the side of their helmets. That's introducing fresh air into the helmet so they don't get any dust or any build-up of condensation on the inside of those lenses. As we watch Rob Mack here powering for the line.
He's always sat so high in his trucks, whether it be the old Pro 4s from the Midwest and the short course series or in the unlimited trucks. I've noticed him more so than anybody else. He always seems to sit really, really high.
Why do you suppose that is?
You're killing me, Bob.
Because you can see better.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
It's not technical.
Okay, we've just got Rob Mack's time curse coming up now, and it's an unbelievable 4:23 there from the legend that is Rob McCracken. So fantastic stuff.
So let's see how the Herps do. That's the number 91 Herps car right behind him.
So as we guessed, it was the unlimited cars that are going to lead the way today. There's more of the power off the line.
I think Fred Ledesma may sink a little bit in the standings here.
Yes, Fred Ledesma there, placing a 5:56. As he said earlier, he just wants to get round.
Yeah. You know, there's a man that knows exactly what he wants to do and does it. How bad is that?
This footage that we're getting here from the Method Wheels qualifying here at the 2020 Mid 400 is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, but you got to let the crowd know, you know, everyone back home watching this, this isn't taped, delayed, this isn't recorded.
No.
This is actual live going on right now as we speak.
Yes.
And here is the local guy. He knows these trails like nobody else. Off-road royalty, Mr. Herbst himself.
This would be Tim Herbst. There's three brothers.
They have set the standard not only on course with their record of finishes and championships and wins, but also have really raised the bar on just their preparation in their race shop. I mean, is that like the Taj Mahal of all off-road?
Well, they made the commitment, Scott, to build race cars for other customers. And so now, you know, what we're seeing is actually chassis wars.
Yeah. And Tim Herbst crosses a line second behind Rob Mack at this point with a 4:25.3. Just a tick under 2 seconds back behind Rob Mack, who has set the standard at 4:23.8. So Tim gave it a ride, but not quite enough to take that top spot. So we have Dave Taylor and Steve Ologis on course right now.
Oh, look at that.
He's talking to himself. He's talking to himself by saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get it back in the straight line.
I saw visions of Jason Baldwin there for a split second. He was always doing that, swapping back and forth.
That's Dave Taylor there that we just saw disappearing in a cloud of dust. And these boys are giving absolutely everything here on the Method Race Wheels qualifying session at the 2020 BF Goodrich Mint 400. Fantastic live shots, and look at the speeds. And I believe that is Sarah Price.
Did you happen to notice the front tires, how they're just like, I don't want to say bouncing side to side, but just kind of almost like a sprint car going down the straightaway. They were kind of just, kind
wagon.
of like, yeah.
Impacts. So I believe that's number 20. That's 27. That would be Steve Ologis on the top screen.
Fantastic looking vehicle. Love the livery on this one.
I'd have to say that the Power Ram steerings are getting the workout this morning. Man. And the thing is, they're not feeling. You see those tires, front tires bounce side to side, up and down, and then watch the steering wheels. They don't feel that.
Yeah, they have a full hydraulic linkage that pass through there with a mechanical link working back. The technology that is in these vehicles is quite remarkable. Talking to some of the chassis builders, particularly the Masons, and they reckon they have more telemetry and control on these vehicles than some Formula One cars. Just get your head around that.
These drones are like gnats. That tells you, though, they're getting some great footage.
How many drones do you know that we have out there this weekend?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Today out on our qualifying course, we have 3 drones. We also have 1 helicopter and 4 static cams bringing you these wonderful images. Just look at the way those wheels are pulling around the corner. This is a 2-wheel drive truck.
Yeah, look at the front tires. They're
smacking that thing around pretty good.
And that's Robert Johnson. I called that wrong earlier, so I do apologise. And Robert Johnson is really sending this. This is a fantastic looking run here.
Yeah, he looks fast. Some of these guys are just being smooth and such.
And we've got a change at the top. Dave Taylor goes into first in the Unlimiteds and first overall with a 4:20, a full 3 seconds faster than Rob Mack. So a fantastic run there from Dave Taylor.
Lower screen looks like Ryan's just taking off there. Well.
Just wonder, might be going a little bit too hard on course. Christian Sharapis is now out on course.
Yeah, that's Robert Johnson there. We saw just getting all sideways and out of shape. He's giving it everything he has on this Method Wheels qualifying session.
You know, Scott, you're talking about where would you find through 3,000s or 310s? A lot of the, even, did you notice how the shocks keep the thing in the air? The thing stays in the air too long, doesn't come back down? There you could have a 10th.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Now, we just saw Robert Johnson a moment ago, and he was absolutely sending it. But this is the Serapis brothers, I believe, out on track now.
Well, I saw Ryan Arciero take off. That's Ryan.
That's Ryan.
That is Ryan Arciero,
Yeah.
yes.
He doesn't leave anything on the table. I guarantee you that.
I believe that's Serapis there.
And Robert Johnson, we saw him laying down absolute flyer, and
there
he has gone sub 420. Unbelievable stuff here from Robert Johnson. 419.
Here we go, boys.
Incredible stuff.
I believe this is the first four-wheel drive on the course.
I believe it is also. This is, of course, the legend that is Bryce Menzies, hot off his win on the T1 Desert Invitational at King of the Hammers in his Mason four-wheel drive car. And here he goes. So come on then, guys. What's he going to post? Can he beat 419?
Oh, yeah. I'd have to say, barring any, any catastrophic situation out there on course, I'd have to say.
Now, we saw Robert Johnson blowing a few corners. He was giving it absolutely everything, and this is where the four-wheel drive comes into its own. It drags you round those corners.
I'm gonna go with a 414.
I'm going 16. That's good to hear you were down there, though. Jim, chime in. What do you got?
Come on, man. Show us
what
you got.
I reckon he's going to go 412.
12. Okay.
Hey, I got high hopes. I'm going to text him now and tell him.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay, because Orange probably got it. He's probably texting you back right now, too.
Well, we saw him ordering the shopping earlier. As we watch here, Bryce Menzies in that amazing Mason four-wheel drive machine. Just look at the way it just covers the ground.
You've called him a legend a couple of times so far this morning, and they're justly deserved. I've watched him race since his very first short course race in a single buggy that he rolled over in, by the way. And only being 32, is he? 31, 32
right now,
years old?
32.
I can't believe that.
Bryce Menzies, qualifying day. You won 2 years ago. You got a Mason truck here, four-wheel drive. What's your strategy today?
Yeah, you know, with this race and how many competitors are coming out here, it's going to be very tough. But we want to go out, qualify at the top spot, so we're going to push as hard as we can. This new Mason Motorsports all-wheel drive handle's amazing. The Mid 400 is one of the toughest races that we do all year long. It's going to be rough. So looking forward to qualifying out front and then kind of try to hopefully set the pace from there and have a good, clean day.
You're coming off a win at the T1 Invitational under Hammer King. You got some momentum going. You going to see it through on this race?
I hope so. You know, we took this brand new truck out and one out of the box, so we hurried and prepped it to bring it here, and it feels really well. So hometown race adds a little more pressure, but it's going to be fun and can't wait to get out there. The Mint's, you know, one of the best races all year long now. The competition is insane, so looking forward to battling out with the boys and see what 428 miles could do to us.
And with no qualifying, I think the guy in the right seat usually plays a pretty important role, doesn't he? How's this yo-yo over here?
Yeah, I got Oren riding with me. We've been working together the last couple of years and doing really good. He's amazing at calling notes, marking stuff, changing tires in a minute and 20 seconds. I don't even get out of the truck. So I'm lucky to have him on board, and it takes two people to go win these races and a whole team behind you. So looking forward to it, and we're going to go charge as hard as we can and hopefully pull off a win.
Right on. Wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you, guys.
And here we go. Look at this. It's Bryce Menzies. So good to get an interview with him earlier today as he tears up the track on this Method Wheels qualifying course here at the BF Goodrich Mint 400.
Two things I've noticed, guys, is Ryan Arciero is now taking the top spot with a 4:17.8 over Robert Johnson. But then also I'm noticing something else, what we talked about earlier, Bob, those shocks, those tires, how that thing is handling. We talked about Johnson, how it was bouncing up high. The shocks were kind of like battling against him, kind of kicking that truck up in the air. It's quite the opposite. This thing is sticking right now for
lands and sticks. That's the key. No second motion. Land, stick. Land, stick.
And while we're watching Bryce Menzies, we've just seen Christian Serapis cross the line, and he's now in 4th position, pushing Rob Mack down into 5th.
Well, I think Bryce just might blow all our times away of what we were guessing here.
Well, he looks smooth enough to be really, really fast. You know, looking fast is slow. Looking slow, you finish.
Look at that. He just checks over the big jump, doesn't do any heroics, keeps those tires on the ground. If you've got tires on the ground, you've got traction.
Now, how hot can these tracks get over an 8-mile lap like this? Can they go away?
You mean
hot? And Bryce Menzies takes the top spot with an unbelievable 4:08. Incredible stuff there from Bryce Menzies.
So I had a 14, you had a 12?
12, yeah.
That was 16. I had no idea.
So fantastic stuff there from the man.
Flat smoking.
So Eric Harding there in the 79 numbered car. Fantastic livery. Picking his way through the desert. So this is now becoming a race for 2nd and 3rd. Can anybody actually challenge Bryce Menzies? Well, there's a few people down on this list that are definitely going to give it a go. We've got Justin Lofton still to come. We've still got Luke McMillan and Kevin Thompson.
I think Luke might have a shot.
And, you know, Dondell is primed up for this kind of a situation. An 8-mile lap, fast all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive truck, and a fast driver. I think we got some times coming.
But just look at this. Bryce Menzies is a full, I find this amazing, 9 seconds ahead of the leading pack. Incredible stuff.
That's the KOH all over again from about a month ago.
It is, yeah. But there's still a lot of racing to come yet. Still over 400 miles separates him from the finish line.
You started touching on how the shocks get warm and fade sometimes. I mean, we never quite finished that train of thought.
Well, the shocks won't, in an 8-mile run, unless you're way off on your setup, the shocks aren't going to go away on you. They'll be fine. But other things will make a difference. Tire pressures if you're high or low. See how smooth he is in his lines? He eases on the brake and eases off. Did you see that? See how he does in his little popper, but he's been hidden.
Using every inch of the course there as he picks his way through.
Wider lines is less slow.
I like that phrase, less slow.
Well, I say that, I know it sounds backwards, but that's really how you win these doggone desert races.
And there's Brett Komonsky there. Looking good, looking sharp. But, it's Cody Parkhouse who's leading the Class 1s with a 4:31. Then it's Bryce Menzies with that staggering 4:08, following Ryan Rosario with a 4:17. And in 3rd is Robert Johnson, who had an incredible run with a 4:19.
Yeah, Cody Parkhouse's Class 1 qualifying time would put him right around, 7th or 8th?
In
with
Unlimited?
the Unlimited trucks, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Here's
there we go. Mr. Lofton.
The Bulldog. I started calling him that in the early SST days when him and Robbie Gordon would go back and forth, and he was taking no grief, not a thing from Robbie. And in fact, he instigated quite a bit of it himself, leaning on Robbie more times than not.
Oh, that'll get Robbie's attention. That's for sure.
Let's not forget, if Justin was to win here this year, he'll be the only man to have won this race 4 times. Is it possible? Can he go back to back?
I'm going to say no.
Well, let's get through qualifying, and that'll give us
Yeah.
a little bit better idea, I think. I just can't help but think right now Bryce Menzies just is so dominant. He's picking up right where he left off from a few weeks ago. The T1 Invitational. So,
if we get to see another four-wheel or all-wheel drive truck leave, look at the front tires when they leave the line versus the two-wheel drives. It's very clear what's going on.
And we're still getting fantastic race coverage here at the Method Wheels qualifying for the 2020 BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400 out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Just check this out. Incredible stuff as we watch the number 80 car there of David Kleiman picking his way through the desert on this 8-mile course.
no, is it the different shock setup? And this is honestly because I'm not a chassis guy.
Yep.
Or an off-road driver, so this is a legit question. I'm watching Bryce Menzies when he was at speed, under acceleration.
And welcome back to the Method Wheels qualifying here at the 2020 BF Goodrich Tyres Mint 400. What an incredible day of qualifying that we've had. We had a small technical hitch, but we're back with you now, guys and girls, and we're going to run through some times for you. Just check out the action that's been going on. Earlier today, we saw Bryce Menzies take the lead, but it's all been changed at the top. Our current top three are Kevin Thompson, Bryce Menzies in second, and Luke McMillan. So we saw Bryce in the four-wheel drive laying down that incredible 4:08, but a two-wheel drive stepped up to the mark, and Kevin Thompson has come across the line with a 4:08.258, less than half a second ahead. Incredible.
Makes us all look like fools.
No, it means that desert racing is absolutely fantastic, and that's why you have to watch every single second.
We need to get Ryan. We need to get Ryan down there to talk to him, find out what happened or what's going on with that truck, because there's something that he found that nobody else has been able to.
Well, it's also interesting as well. We have to remember about the Harley-Letner thing. Now, we're just trying to get confirmation if Harley's actually in the driving seat or whether it's Kevin Thompson himself. But either way, an astonishing drive. So we're just going to run through our top 10 in the unlimited trucks. In 10th position, it's Eric Hardeen. In 9th, it's Ryan Pohlman. In 8th, it's Tim Herbst. In 7th, it's Christian Serapis. In 6th is Dave Taylor. In 5th is Robert Johnson. In 4th is Rana Serio. 3rd, Luke McMillan. In 2nd, it's Bryce Menzies. But at the top of the box at the moment, it's Kevin Thompson with a 4:08. Incredible stuff there. And still the action keeps on happening out on track. And that is Sarah Price. Let's see what this young lady can do. She's moved up into the unlimited trucks this year. Very talented wheel monkey. Am I allowed to say that? Probably not.
Language barrier. Him and I have been talking about the last couple of days.
Do you know Sarah?
I do know Sarah. She's no monkey. She's an incredible athlete.
Yes, she is. She'd also smack you a little.
Yeah, she probably would, yeah. Get me in an arm lock as we watch more cars out on track. Now, we're just trying to find out also, we saw Justin Lofton leave the line earlier, but we're not seeing a time for him. So we're just trying to get confirmation if there's an issue with his tracker or if he's had problems out on course.
I believe we were watching Kevin Thompson just a moment ago, like 3-4 trucks ago, where it was that truck that was all tore up. I believe that was him, wasn't it? All kinds of front end damage. It looked like it was basically cosmetic, but the truck was just bouncing real hard. Crazy aggressive driving going on at the moment. There's Don Dale right there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm interested to see this. Yeah. Don Dale is the man of the moment. He can actually pull things out of the bag that others can't. So let's see what he does. But as you were saying earlier, Bob, this is a new car. He's trying something different this time. He's got a big block motor in there. I hear rumours of a single turbo on there. Let's see what he can do.
Dale would do stuff like that.
I would predict he's going to do very well. See, I mean, this man, Dale Dondale, qualifies very, very well all the time. So let's just see. But I am curious about Lofton. You know, Jim, it's like, why did he disappear?
Yeah. I mean, like he had mentioned that the transponder maybe not working, or if something happened to him out on course.
Well, what a shame.
But let's also talk about the third place time of Luke McMillan. An incredible time there. Now, Luke, of course, won the Desert Invitational in 2019 at King of the Hammers and came second there only a few weeks ago. This is a young man who's really on form. But not only is he a young man that's on form, he's a young man who knows how to get a car to the end of a race. It's going to be... I'm really curious to see how well he does this year. Is it time for some fresh blood on that top step?
Unquestionably, it is. You know, what we're seeing is third-generation racers rising to the top. They've been born into it. They have it as part of the culture. It just becomes your DNA.
I don't think Don Dell's going at full speed.
No, he does. He looks down on power.
Yeah, down on most everything.
Is he coming? Yeah, he's coming to a stop. It looked like there.
Yep.
So that's a tough break there.
Well, but it supports our reliability commentary, you know. Things happen. Things happen.
Indeed they do. And I can confirm that Sarah Price has gone into 10th position with a 4:30. So a solid time there from Sarah.
Gosh, top 10 qualifying, I would take it.
We're looking at car 38. I think he's the last runner off the line, which will be Eric Husted. He was just having his transponder fitted. As we cut back to more live action on track at the Method Wheels qualifying here at the 2020 BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400 in Las Vegas.
Is that Dondell back underway? I believe it is.
Yeah.
He's considerably quicker than he was just a moment ago. This is kind of what we expected to see out of him, is this session, this part right here. You think Dale's like one of the tallest guys we have running in this class?
He and Larry Hartley are pretty, I would call those long wheelbase men. Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, just giving an update now. We're just showing that Justin Lofton's transponder doesn't seem to be showing any time. So it's either a transponder issue or he's had breakdown on course. So as soon as we got any information about that, about last year's champion, we will get it to you straight away.
Life is sure going to go hard on him if he had a flat.
Oh.
Golly. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
But Dale Dondale here, disappearing in a cloud of dust as he heads for the finish line.
That's
that
Rob.
looks like Rob. That's Rob Mack. So we're just cutting back now.
Oh, this is
some
reviews?
previous footage. It looks like we're going to spend some time in the car with Rob Mack on his qualifying session. We saw him qualifying earlier today. And we've got some changes in the top 10.
You got an update?
Yeah, I'll run that through you right now.
All righty.
Wow. Dondell in the 4th spot.
So
Okay,
that
I'm
wasn't
going
him that pulled
to
over.
run right there, down through the Unlimiteds. In 18th position is Fred Ledzemer. In 17th is Brett McConsky. In 16th is Dan McKenzie. In 15th is David Kleiman. In 14th is Steve Olgies. In 13th is Eric Hardeen. In 12th is Sarah Price. In 11th is Ryan Pohlman. In 10th is Tim Herbst. In 9th, a fantastic display from this young man, Jax Redline. In 8th, Christian Serapis. 7th, Dave Taylor. 6th, Robert Johnson. 5th, Ryan Aserio. In 4th, Dale Dondale, we just saw him cross the line. Then in 3rd, it's Luke McMillan. 2nd, Bryce Menzies. And in 1st, it's Kevin Thompson. As we watch Rob Mack and his qualifying run earlier today.
You know, it's interesting. You look out the window, you see the drone flying off on the left side, and his co-driver looks so relaxed, he's almost bored. Look at that, he's looking around. Oh, it's nice out here. Rob's up on the wheel, but look at his hands. Watch how his hands never leave the wheel. Smooth inputs, smooth inputs.
I've noticed that a lot of the guys are actually steering with one hand, with the other right hand on the shifter. That tells me that they've got a pretty powerful ram system in there.
Now, some of you might at home might have noticed that Robbie Cackett is actually showing on our scoreboard at the moment. We just think there's a transponder issue. He was lying at around about 7th position. So as soon as we can get that updated, we will let you know. But enjoy the magic as Rob Mack picks his way around the course.
I'm still amazed at the qualifying effort by Dale Dondell when he actually came to a stop on the course, took care of whatever the issue was, and got back going again and still come into the top 5.
Yeah, I don't get that. Could we have made a mistake? I mean, about the guy pulling over, was it maybe not?
No, it was
Dondell?
stopped. He stopped. I mean, he was going slow. We even caught it.
Wow. Stories, more stories. We're going to hear about
I
them.
think actually the car we saw stop was actually a car on the finish line, and they were just cutting between the vehicles, and there was two black
But
vehicles.
Dale was very slow when we were watching him. He was well off the pace. In fact, that section right there, he never even come off the ground, if you remember.
Interesting.
Many things to talk about.
Oh, boy. You know, the evening of qualifying and time trials is always interesting in the bars. I mean, you hear some amazing philosophies.
Now, this is very interesting. It does look like we've got Rob Mack back on track doing a second qualifying run.
Yeah.
So it would appear that he had a problem with his transponder, but we were showing a time for him. So perhaps something else happened on course that has caused him to either protest and ask for another run, or for the organisers to give him another run. We can only assume at this moment in time, and as soon as we get any information from Race Ops, we will bring it straight to you.
Well, so this is an actual live.
Yeah, it's live. It's happening as we see it. So watch him pull off a 407. What do you think, Jim?
Okay, yeah, we're just hearing now that Rob Mack is being given a second run as he caught the guy in front of him. Okay, which would have affected his time, so he could opt to take a second run, and that's exactly what Rob Mack is doing now. Just a massive shout out to Fishgistics, who are keeping us in the loop as he hears little snippets.
Thank you, Fish.
Killer job as always. If you don't follow Fishgistics, get on Instagram.
Kind of surprised Fish
Chase
isn't
him
here
down.
someplace, all set up.
So it's a double whammy for us. We get to see Rob Mack on track twice today. I'll take that.
Yeah, thank you ever so much. No extra charge.
So can he do it? Can he do something special here?
Well, we have to remember now, his goal ultimately was to be 4th or 5th. He didn't care to be first.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, while we're watching here, Rob Mack powering his way for the line, we have a change in the top 3. Unbelievably, Bryce Menzies is now 3rd. In 2nd position, it's Carl Jurgensen, who's just come in posting a 4:08.6. So I'll just run this through. Bryce Menzies with a 4:08.2, Carl Jurgensen with a 4:08.6, and still leading at the moment is the car of Kevin Thompson, we think driven by Harley Lettner, with a 4:08.2. Less than a second separating our top 3 racers today. As we're back in car now,
you know,
with Rob Mack.
So many people say, gosh, what's it like in there? Look at these guys. They are relaxed. It's quiet and serene. Many years of me riding with Robbie Gordon, people ask me how crazy is it in there, and it isn't. I tell them the truth. It's very serene. They don't buy it. But look at what we're seeing here. Who amongst you in our viewership would not be happy to be sitting in that right seat right now? Easy deal. See, I mean, it's Rob looks almost relaxed. Yeah. Like he's cruising.
You kind of
gear?
Yeah. No, this is interesting. I think he's either finished his run or he has a problem. You just see him undoing his belts there.
Yeah.
Co-driver's undoing himself. So they finished their run. So we're just waiting for
the time.
Rob Mack's time to pop up on our screen. As soon as we have it, we will bring it to you. But the top news at the moment is our top 5 is Dale Dondale with a 4:15. In 4th is Luke McMillan with a 4:11. Then in 3rd position in the 4-wheel drive truck is Bryce Menzies with a 4:08.8. And that 0.8 is important because in 2nd position is Carl Jurgensen with a 4:08.6. And in 1st position, Kevin Thompson with a 4:08.2. Incredible stuff here at the Method Wheels qualifying here at the 2020 BF Goodrich Mint 400. And welcome back to the studio. I'm sat here. I've got Scott Wren and Bob Bauer with me. It's been an incredible day of qualifying so far. What have the highlights been for you guys?
Wow.
Where do you want to start?
Well, yeah, the highlights for me is that calmness that everybody seemed to display when Ryan was interviewing him at the start. So very calm, but not calm. You can see they were wound up like a 10-day clock. Rob Mack, as nice, you know, Rob personally is a very funny guy. I mean, that guy's got wit. He all he could do was barely crack a smile when Ryan was talking to him, and that's again because he was so focused. So the wow for me is how this concentration has kept these guys down so tight.
I kind of like the developing stories of starting with like the 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. We didn't know what to expect.
Right.
But one truck at a time, we started seeing the developing stories, the bylines, the side stories, and how they're going to line up, how they're going to finish. And I just like seeing things develop. And what can we expect come race day? So that's kind of what I like today.
Indeed. And for people who are watching at home at the moment, you'll be sitting there and wondering why we haven't got time for Rob Mack. Now, Rob, we've just seen do a second run. He was allowed to do that because he actually caught a car on track on his first run, so he could take the option of a second run, and they're just working out the times on the transponders at the moment. So the second we have his time, we will bring you that.
How about you? What was your wow moment?
Well, mate, I'm amazed. I mean, we saw Dale Dondale slowing down, and yet he still posted a top 5. That's going to be a man he's going to be worth watching all race for sure. And then, of course, I'm going to put a shout out here for Luke McMillan. I think this is a very a wise young man, if that makes any sense at all. And he's put that two-wheel drive truck right up there at the pointy end of this race. He's going to be on the second row of the grid, and he's going to be parked right next to Bryce Menzies. But let's talk about Kevin Thompson. He's our pole setter currently, but I reckon that was Harley Letner, because if you had Harley Letner in your team, the man is incredible. He's the man to beat on a qualifying course. In fact, a man to beat on any course.
Quite.
And I'm fairly confident we're going to find out that that was Harley behind the wheel of that vehicle, bringing it home with a 4:08 2.2. So while we've had a wonderful day of qualifying, but we're going to pop down now and have an interview with one of the Martelli Brillers. So Matt Martelli, and find out what he's got to say.
So we've got first couple unlimited trucks off the line here.
Yeah,
Mr. Martelli.
Looks like Rob Mack's about to take the first the pole here, and the first trophy, or sorry, the first unlimited truck off the line. So Tony Vanillo, our race director, is about to give him the green light. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We've got over 100 unlimited vehicles here qualifying. So this is pretty spectacular qualifying. It's about a 6-mile loop today. We just sent all the 6100s off, the Baja spec trucks, and the Class 11s, and now we're getting into the big boys.
So we were talking earlier this morning about the reason that qualifying is out here at Apex versus back where the race starts. Can you fill the fans in on why that decision's been made?
Yeah, we really like this area because it's rough and it resembles our race course. So it's more like our course. Here goes Rob. How awesome is that? That's 1,000 horsepower right there, so it doesn't get much better than that.
And legendary driver behind the wheel, nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically our GOAT. That's the greatest off-road racer of all time, and he's still knocking them down.
So you're a decade in to reviving the Mint 400, and you brought it back to the glory days. What's it feel like to be at the helm of this at this point?
You know, this is awesome. Me and my brother, we love off-road racing and off-road culture. So to us, this is really special to be at the helm and really charging into the future.
It's a special thing to watch some of the older families having the younger generations. And we keep talking about younger, but the reality of it is that some of the kids are not kids anymore, and they're actually creating their own names for themselves, regardless of what their parents and grandparents did.
Yeah, we're like 3 generations in now, and we've got a lot of young kids that are basically coming of age and starting to be, front runners in all classes.
Right on. Well, hey, I think it's great what's happening here. I'm excited to be a part of it and looking forward to race day tomorrow and Saturday.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. So let's see who qualifies first.
Okay, and welcome back to the 2020 BF Goodrich Tyres Mint 400. We've been here today qualifying at the Method Wheels qualifying out at Apex, and it's been an incredible morning. We've seen some wonderful runs from some incredible people. We saw Cody Parkhouse come off the line first of all, laying down a 4:31, and we thought that was going to be a tough time to beat, and then unleash the unlimited trucks, the guys that we all want to see, and they've just put on a hell of a display for us.
They truly did, and they threw us a big surprise. We've been thinking when Bryce Menzies pulled off that 408, we thought, wow,
exactly.
That's it. And then, bam, pow, a 2-wheel drive does it. So, now what are we talking about?
Well, let's just have a quick rundown on our top 10 currently. In 10th position, it's Jake's Redline with a 423. In 9th, it's Christian and Brett Serapis with a 421. In 8th, it's Dave Taylor with a 420. In 7th, Robert Johnson with a 419. In 6th, it's Ryan Nasario with a 417. In 5th, Dale Dondale with a 415. In 4th, it's Luke McMillan with a 411, and then it gets tight. In 3rd, it's Bryce Menzies with a 408.8. In 2nd, second, Kyle Jurgensen with a 4:08.6. And the man at the top shelf at the moment in first position is Kevin Thompson with a 4:08.2. And let's not forget, though, we are waiting for confirmation of Rob Mack's time and also of Justin Lofton's. So they've both had problems with transponders. And once we get that, we will update our top 10. But that is our current top 10 as we see it right now.
You know, guys, I think that we got to kind of take a step back and kind of raise our eyebrow a little bit. I'm going to look at Dale Dondell.
All right.
What happened there? He was very slow a portion of the course. I think he pulled off to the side and actually came to a stop, and then still came by, got back underway and finished his lap with a 4:15, 7 seconds back out of the top spot. So something tells me he's got it taken care of. We got to find out what's going on there, because that is a fast lap time having been stopped.
Developing story.
Okay, well, we're talking about this. We're going to go and see a young man now. Luke McMillan was chatting to Ryan earlier, so let's see what he's got to say.
All right.
All right, I'm here with Luke McMillan. Qualifying's over. We got the 2020 BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400 starting on Saturday. You're done qualifying. How do you think you did?
Yeah, I think qualifying went really well. We come out here, it's kind of a fun game. We all want to go as hard as we can and see who's the fastest driver, who's got the fastest truck. However, the real race is on Saturday. So we went out there with an aggressive mentality, but at the same time, we didn't want to risk anything and throw away our race. So it went really well. I think we're up in the top 5, hopefully for sure in the top 10. That's kind of the goal. And the truck's in one piece, which is all we can ask for after a qualifying run. And I felt really good in the truck. My co-rider, Jason Duncan, did an awesome job. And the team's ready to go for Saturday.
So you mentioned your co-driver, and the McMillan family name is notorious for pre-running, which doesn't get to happen here at the Mint. How does the co-driver play into your strategy? What's his job in the right seat?
Yeah, these lap races are really unique in the fact that, we just go around and around and they just become more and more beat up. The whoops get bigger, and then you just start developing a lot more square edge type bumps that just will get worse and worse and become just a really nasty kicker on the last lap, where rocks will start to expose themselves. So without pre-running, I think it's really key that we're communicating in the truck on race day to lay waypoints and try to remember those and call them out over the radio or whatever we need to do, so that as this track is developing and getting rougher and rockier and the race goes on, that we kind of remember and adapt to the course, because the lap times will probably only get faster and faster. With it being 4 laps this year rather than 3, it's going to be even rougher on that last lap. It's going to be really brutal.
So you and your brother are teamed up again, and tell me, how long has it been since you guys actually were in the same car together?
Well, actually, my brother, we're both on the truck. However, I'll be driving the truck the entire race. So unless we have an issue, I'll let Dan get in there and get some seat time as well. But his truck is getting prepped for San Felipe. He's got the new all-wheel drive truck, which takes a little more time to prep, so he'll be getting ready for the next race. However, I'll take the driving duties for all Saturday, and if I need a relief or if I get tired, which, as long as I'm doing well won't happen, I'll stay in the truck the whole time.
And I saw a new video that came out a little while ago, and you guys got a new sponsor. That's kind of a big deal for you guys.
Yeah, it's a big change for us, not having the big blue M smack dab on the middle of the car, where it kind of moved up on the number plate, still in a prominent spot. However, we brought on 4-wheel parts on board with the program this year for the next 2 years, and we couldn't be happier to be joined with them. I mean, it's a great group of people there, a great company, and their support for us is awesome. So them, along with BF Goodrich Tires and Method Race Wheels, we got a great team for the next couple years. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, we're looking forward to watching you, Luke.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's so good to see young drivers like Luke McMillan coming up through the ranks. I mean, these are guys who've been working incredibly hard from a young age to be there. And he's right at the pointy end of this race. He's going to be on the second row of the grid for tomorrow.
Very competitive, Luke is. When we see who the top guys are, you got Kyle, you got Bryce, you got Luke, and then Dondell. It's
the old man of the bunch. Can you believe that?
Yeah. But still, as Jim's pointed out, we're still waiting to find out what the deal is with Lofton, and the deal is with Rob Mack.
Yeah, so here we are. We're looking at our top 5 in qualifying at the moment in the unlimited trucks. So in 5th position, it was Dale Dundale, who that new truck. In 4th, we just saw him there in the interview, was Luke McMillan. In 3rd, it was Bryce Menzies. In 2nd, Carl Jurgensen. And in 1st is Kevin Thompson, we think driven by Harley Letner. But earlier in the day today, we saw Cody Parkhouse come out in his Class 1, laying down a 4:31. It was a time that we thought was going to be incredibly difficult to beat. But earlier in the week, our cameras went out and caught up with Cody, and they found out all about his road to the Mint, and we're going to go and check that out right now.
Cool.
I got started in off-road racing by being born into it, essentially. My dad started a couple years before I was born. I grew up doing it. I loved it. I was hooked before I really even raced, but once I raced, I was fully hooked. A number of reasons I was drawn to it. I grew up going to the river, riding dirt bikes, going out on the weekends, and decided I want to build the car and start racing, and had a guy help me out and guide me through that, and built a 5/1600 and had no idea what I was doing. It was a bit of a disaster the first year, and then started figuring it out a little bit. I started in a 2/1600 with my uncle. First, I did 1 or 2 local MBR races, and then from there we moved into racing score, and then from there we expanded into Best in the Desert more and kind of doing both. When my brother started racing in 1600, Cody was getting to that age, and that was kind of a plan to get him into 1600 and have him start getting some seat time. And I wanted to move him up to the 1 car with me. I moved into the 1 car with my dad in 2010, so this will be the 11th year racing in the 1 car. Family is huge in off-road racing. There's not a lot of people who get to race with their dad, with either of their parents really, but I'm one of them. There's a few of us out there, and I think we all cherish it very highly because it's something we get to do with our family, and it means a lot. It's a lot of fun. I mean, if you want to go all the way back to the beginning, Parkhouse Motorsports was started in 1986, I believe it was, by my dad. My dad started Parkhouse Tire in 1971. He had been in the gas station business before then, and when he started Parkhouse Tire, it was really more of a retail location. The family business is a tire service company. We service all of our commercial tire customers, whether it's road calls or pickup and delivery, any sort of thing along those lines, and we also do retreading.
Cody Parkhouse was involved in one of the most horrific accidents in all of off-road racing. He went head-on with another driver on the highway in Baja. The other driver died, and Cody nearly died. He spent days in the hospital and ended up with brain injuries. We didn't know if he was going to make it or not.
So the accident at the 1000 in 2016, it affects me a lot, but I think it affects everybody around me more. Even though I was the one actually going through it, I'm also the one who had the brain injury, who doesn't remember almost 3 months of my life. It's just kind of like a bad dream. I was actually back at Horsepower Ranch when we were staying because I'd gotten out on the Pacific side, and they came and got me up and we got going. It was just a tragic event, and nobody likes seeing any of their loved ones needed to be airlifted out. It's tough. I mean, I'm grateful for my family and what they went through and what they still allow me to do even afterwards. And I've been through a little bit, but I've been through nothing compared to what my family has.
But what's remarkable is not only did Cody return to off-road racing, but he's back at the top level.
We did a lot of soul searching. Cody wanted to keep racing. I wanted to keep racing, and we kept at it. There's always a plan, then everything happens. And a lot of times it's like throwing a grenade in the trash can, good luck finding any other parts again. You have to kind of roll with a lot of punches and deal with stuff as it's coming up. Fortunately for us, that hasn't happened too much, and that's part of the reason I think we've been so successful is we've prepared for it beforehand, and we were ready for that kind of stuff to happen. And when it does, it just is something that we're able to just take in stride and keep moving forward. I've been lucky at the Mint, well, however you want to look at it. I have done well. I've raced it 4 times and I've won it twice. But I think that all kind of goes back to what I was saying of the grenade in the trash can. That's kind of what the Mint is. It's one of the roughest, nastiest races, and a lot of cars have a lot of issues at that race that you don't typically have at most races. Yeah, it just deteriorates so bad from lap to lap, even though it's already kind of deteriorated. But with us being the last race, I drove a little over a lap and a half last year, and just from the second lap to the third lap, the holes just get so much bigger, and you just have to adapt and overcome. There's no other option. You just got to try and keep moving forward, and that's just what we strive to do. As the other ones are dropping off, we're just keep moving to the front. As close as all the battles have gotten in the last few years out in the desert, we can't really have any downtime. I mean, we've worked on every different aspect to try to minimize downtime, whether it's our pits, whether it's any time we have to stop on the side of the course, we try to limit that, and a huge part of that is flats. If you have a flat early, 4 or 5 cars get by you, it's really difficult to come back from that. The BFGs have been really rugged and hold up to the abuse that we put them through. I mean, the flat that we had, I smashed about a refrigerator that was a rock, and I'm like, holy cow. And had to run on it for like 30 miles to the next pit. So it was not good, but we still did it. Oh, it definitely gives us a competitive advantage. When it's the best tire and the most durable, it's kind of a tough combo to try to beat. If we won in 2020 again, it'd be amazing. I mean, that'd be a back-to-back win. It'd be our 3rd win in Class 1. That's always the goal. When we go out, we want to win. We want to win every race we go to. And winning back-to-back would be awesome. I mean, the Mint has turned into a very prestigious event, and it's always good to be able to back it up.
And welcome back to the BF Goodrich Tyres Mint 400 2020. It's been a fantastic day here at the Method Wheels qualifying course, and we've seen some real action. But we're at the moment lying in Class 1. We've just seen the video about Cody and that horrific accident, but it's all coming good for him. He's currently in first position. In second is Jay Reihart, in joint second with Jerry Lay, and then I'm going to get this straight because he sounds a bit confused here when you see it up on the board like this. Cody Parkhurst is the only car that actually qualified today in Class 1. The other guys actually failed to take the line, but Cody laid down a fantastic 4:31, so it's great to see that. But we also had the Baja vehicles racing today and also the 6100s. 6100s, we saw one car leave the line, and that was Max Armstrong. But there was a real battle royale in the Baja trucks, and we'll be bringing their times up very shortly for you. But guys, talk to us about these other classes. We've seen 4 classes qualifying today, the unlimited trucks, but then we saw the 6100s, then we also saw the Baja trucks, as we call them, which are also a spec class vehicle, a set of vehicles as well, and they were wonderful to watch. I mean, they really are very fast.
They're also nimble. What I saw was guys getting out of shape and back in shape very easily. There was a lot of I can save it. And when you look at the Baja truck results, Joe Brain, you know, he what's that? Well, that's not his time. That's his number. Well, yeah, I can't see that. Well, Joe Brain.
Okay. Well, let's have a look here now at these. These are the Baja trucks. So these are basically very similar chassis to the 6100 trucks that we saw earlier today, but they're running a 40-inch tyre with an underdrive and limited to 525 horsepower. Lying in 5th position, we've got Terry Householder. In 4th, it was Adam Lum. In 3rd, the man himself, Brad Lovell. In 2nd, it was Justin Blower. And in 1st position, it was Joe Brain. But the times were incredibly close. We saw Brad Lovell come out the blocks and lay down a superb time, and we weren't sure if anyone was going to be able to beat that, but step up Justin Blower and Joe Brain, who did a fantastic job. But earlier today we saw Justin Lofton, who was our 2019 champion, but it looked like we had trouble out in track, but we got an interview with him, so we're going to find out what was actually happening out there today on course.
I want to hear this.
All right, Method Race Wheels qualifying rounds for the 2020 BF Goodrich Mint 400 are over with, and I'm standing with 3-time overall winner, the only 3-time overall winner, Justin Lofton. How do you feel your qualifying went today?
Our qualifying run went great. We had some big moments out there that I know will be posted later on social media, so look out for those. But it's a great qualifying course. I mean, definitely is really tough, as you can tell. We got a little bedside damage, but we left it all out there. We used all of our Geolander tire to put our 1100 horsepower to the ground, and our Fox suspension just ate up those whoops, and looking forward to a great day.
So a lot of talk about the race course being 4 laps this year instead of 3 laps. Strategy for taking it easy in the beginning? You're going to go straight out the gate as fast as you can? What's your race strategy looking like for Saturday?
You know what? We all come up with this great strategy. We put on our helmets, we throw it out the window. So like I was telling someone earlier, I said we're a bunch of boys with really cool toys that like to go fast. So we, we'll all try to play mental games with each other. But when it comes down to it, the guy physically leading the race will be able to control the pace, and it's up to the rest of us to either force his card and cause a mechanical issue, or just drive around him. So hopefully we're the guy leading the race after qualifying here. We haven't heard our times, but I'm very confident in it, and we'll be up front.
Well, we're looking forward to watching you, Justin. Good luck on Saturday.
All right, thank you.
We were talking about it earlier. It's about confidence, and there is a man who just oozes confidence.
Yeah, he
You
does.
like the way that he kind of smiled all wryly. It's like, I really don't know what my time was, but watch the social medias later on this afternoon. I'm sure we'll be checking it out then.
I think it's a smooth move, but I think it's an act, too. He doesn't want to wait till this afternoon. He wants it now. I got to know now, particularly for what they've been doing to build up to this. You know, when I think about it, I look back on what does time trials do. You know, the tension is now off. These guys know what we know. It's the die is cast. So now they can start thinking about what they're going to do tomorrow. Even though Justin says, you make a plan, you throw it out the window.
Time for Fremont Street.
Well, they got a lot off their shoulders today.
Well, it's interesting also to note that these guys aren't actually racing till Saturday, so they now have a day to be able to get back to the pits, tear those cars down, and I really like this, the way the qualifying is done here at the Mint 400, so they actually have a gap between qualifying and between the racing, so now that when they arrive on the start line, those cars will be 100% race fit and ready to rock and roll. That's very cool indeed.
Something that just occurs to me is it was a very straightforward, safe.
Yes,
time
we have
trial. Nobody got upside. Nobody flying inverted. Nothing. None of the.
No, there was no drama out on the track, out on the course, as far as wreckage or rollovers or anything like that. The drama was in the times themselves.
Yes.
The drivers and the truck performance. That's where the drama was.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
And we saw some incredible drama out there today. We were all talking about it. It was always talking about the four-wheel drive, the all-wheel drives of Bryce Menzies, and he was going to leave it all out there on the table, but step up some other drivers. We've seen some incredible stuff. These two-wheel drives, they're not dead yet. I think we've got ourselves a hell of a race on our hands.
I think so.
We got to find out what's the latest with Rob McCachran.
Yeah.
Something tells me he hasn't barked real loud just yet, waiting for a race time. So didn't have the greatest of day in qualifying either time, I don't think. But I'm thinking that there's still a little giddy up in that truck.
Well, I'm sure there is. And, tomorrow's another big day. Tomorrow we have racing.
Tomorrow we have racing. Yes, we've got over 30 classes racing tomorrow, which is going to be fantastic to watch. The live show is going to be starting live here at 10 a.m., but there's going to be vehicles out on track before that. But because of the darkening conditions, we can't quite get there, so we'll be bringing some footage from those earlier races during the day and bringing it to you in the live show as we get it. So don't miss here at 10 a.m. We are live tomorrow. So thank you very much, Bob. Thank you very much, Scott. And we look forward to seeing you here tomorrow at the BF Goodrich Mint 400 in Las Vegas.
See you mañana.